Live from New York.
Wow.
I usually go coffee, and I know this is a popular drink, so don't explode at me. But I haven't had one in a long time. It's unbelievable, and people need to get into it. Coca-Cola. Wow. Have you had some of this stuff? Out of Atlanta, Georgia.
Wow, this is the nicest thing you've ever done.
For that. On ice.
I mean, that's delicious.
Unbelievable.
And I don't drink soda, but that's delicious.
It's unbelievable.
About once a month, maybe once every 5 weeks, I need a Coke.
Oh, wow. So good.
And it's great.
It's a little company out of Atlanta.
Yeah, we saw you do the sniffing salts, Brew. We know.
I never want to touch smelling salts again.
Show me
just once a month. Just a little pick.
I did look a little more skilled than I should have looked.
Is Mahomes on the injury report? Mahomes is on the injury report.
Yeah.
Is this something or nothing? It's on wristwatch. We got to be aware.
Wristwatch. Oh, no. It is wristwatch.
You put on your fake press thing.
Fake news hat. Hat is fake. News is real.
Meanwhile,
work on it.
while playing the Bears is a sign that Dak Prescott is going to win Offensive Player of the Week.
Well, yeah. They're batting 1,000 and giving up that award.
J.J. McCarthy didn't.
I know. That J.J. McCarthy award is going to age like milk, man. That ain't good.
It doesn't seem like it so far.
Yeah.
And finally, it's the most motivational segment in all of sports. It's the Bud List alongside Nick Wright. I'm Kevin Wildes. Brew, late night for you last night coming up with the Bud List?
Yeah. But I think I got a good one.
Good. Any pick-me-ups late at night?
Sorry, that was too much. That's too much. The guy spent 55 years building his reputation.
I'll tell you.
Coca-Cola's got Wildes out of his mind.
Losing my mind. So good. Unbelievable. Start with the undefeated Eagles. Winning on the ground. Hurts was asked about the passing attack or lack thereof, and here's what he said. Take a listen.
I take accountability for a lot of it and just how we go out there, because it's my job. My job is to go out there and be the general, orchestrate everything, and ultimately make plays. And, given the opportunities we had, I'm very critical of myself of trying to make the most of what's given to us. And so there's definitely some evolution that we can do. There's definitely some things that we can grow in, but I look inward.
Perfect response, as always. Hurts this season, bro, 28th in pass attempts, only 45, only 270 some odd air yards, and only 5 attempts of 20 more yards. That's tied for 22nd. Can the Eagles keep winning with this strategy?
Haven't we been here before?
I have no idea.
We're really going here again?
This is a new level.
They won a Super Bowl doing this.
Not quite like this.
Hold on. Against Green Bay, he threw for 131 yards in their first playoff win.
Yes.
The week after, against the Rams, he throws for 128, where Matthew Stafford was great. Now, in the next couple games he played, he had to throw more. They beat Baltimore last year with him throwing for less than 120 yards. Now, I get it. They're going to improve. He's not going to average 101 yards passing a game, but they just beat the Chiefs with them throwing it this way. Look, you want them to throw it down the field more because he has been dinking and dunking more than ever. But throw it down the field more, especially they got the weapons to do it. And also you want to get Saquon going more. Yes. Saquon's a big difference. He's averaging less than 4 yards a carry. Teams are stacking the box. I think if they throw downfield more, that'll open things up for the run game. And I don't expect them to stay this way, but remember, 2023, was it? The year of the supernatural funk.
Yes.
This was what the whole thing was about. Like when they started off 10-1, they kept winning. They were beating everybody, but it was always like, they don't look that good.
Right, but that doesn't worry you?
And they got into it, and they were talking about – I just think it became this huge weight on their shoulders. Like, yeah, we're winning, but we're not playing well. Mm-hmm. And I think they should – and I think they probably want to make sure that doesn't happen again. I just don't think they should fall in – like the Chiefs last year. Chiefs did not fall into this trap of – we're not playing well, but we keep winning. You know what I mean?
Sure.
We might have been saying it, but they were just trugging along like, look, we're winning games. If you talk about that, do it within yourselves, among yourselves. But I don't think they should play into it with the media or make it become a big national story that, yeah, we're 10-0, but we're not playing well.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm looking at it more as in 10-0, obviously, it'd be a high now, but whatever.
8-2,
right. Even 7-3 is great through 10 games.
Right.
The question is, can they get there playing this way? And the reason my answer to that would be no is because they're not getting they're getting less from the passing game this year than they were last year, while also having a worse defense and getting less from the running game. So last year you had Saquon on the precipice of having the most prolific running season of all time. And, depending on which metric you like, either the best or certainly a top 3 defense in football. I don't know that they have I don't think they are going to end up having that defense this year. And thus far, they haven't gotten close to that from Saquon this year. Meanwhile, the numbers are jarring. Like, you showed 20-plus yard passes. They're throwing the ball less than anyone in the league by a lot. There's only 5 teams at 50% or lower. They're at 40. And Colin had a graphic that they have more tush-push attempts this year than 10-yard pass attempts.
Yeah, so this was in The Athletic. There's been 249 pass attempts on throws between 10 and 20 air yards. Jalen Hurts hasn't taken one.
Correct.
From Brooks.
But don't you kind of feel, I hear all that, but don't you feel like they're kind of just, like, I expect a lot of improvement. I expect Saquon to improve. I expect the defense to improve. I'm just thinking they're going to get playing a lot better, and the passing game.
I do expect Saquon to improve but I also wonder, is part of what could hurt Saquon is until the Eagles show we're willing to throw one intermediate pass, he's easier to defend. It's kind of the reverse of what we say about, what Lamar opens up for Derrick Henry or vice versa. And I don't know how much the defense. I think the defense will improve. I don't think the defense has the personnel.
Look, they held the Chiefs to 17.
Sure.
Dallas. We saw what they did last week. Now Dallas was marching on them in the first half. Second half, they obviously.
The other thing that I find odd, and this to me is, I don't even know if I want to call it a criticism of Jalen Hurts, but an observation from week 1 in particular. Week 1. We all said he was the best player for the Eagles offensively that game, and that he did a great job scrambling. We also have been saying Patrick this year, most of his value has come scrambling, right? I am seeing Patrick scramble, and what I'm telling you guys, and I think you guys believe me, and I agree, I believe is, nobody's getting open. Nobody can get open. He's having to do it. In that Dallas game, it is shocking to me, especially after seeing what a hard time Dallas had covering Malik Neighbors and the other Giants, that
two great receivers,
that you have those guys. Are those guys really not? Devontae and A.J. Brown are just not getting open. A.J. told us that wasn't the case. But that's, and so it was the scramble is typically, a quarterback-driven run is one thing. Scramble usually, I don't want to say is a last resort, but it's obviously not.
It's
the
kind of a weapon for Jalen, though.
No, 100%, but it's not. A scramble is never your plan.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean? And so that's the part to me that I find odd. And the stat you had, which is they've thrown 5 passes longer than 10 yards all year. And they're all very long. It's the completion to Dotson, the completion to Devontae in the Chiefs game. I can name them. The incompletion when Devontae fell on his tailbone. The incompletion we showed, and one other one I'm forgetting about. That's all of it. And that's really odd.
I agree with you that they have to throw it downfield more and even throw it more, period. But my biggest worry with them, I just feel like that's going to happen.
Okay.
I can't imagine them playing this way the whole season. My biggest fear, though, when I said this after the first game of the season, Jalen taking these shots.
Yeah.
Because he looked unusually fresh in game 1 with his running. And even in that game, in the second half, he didn't look quite as fresh. And so if he keeps taking some of these hits and he's not as fresh running the football, then I think that's a problem for the Eagles. So
the other part of it, I wonder if it's a first half stat. And here's something, we've talked about how often the Eagles are ahead and just decide to run the ball and drain the clock. Snaps trailing in the second half, like sort of classic, we got to throw the ball situations. Baker has taken 275 snaps trailing in the second half. Jaden 255. And then down at the bottom, Jalen Hurts has only had 28 snaps trailing in the second half. I found it to be a wild stat. So if he is going to throw the ball, maybe it's in the first half. Or they're like, we can also get the lead running the ball and then just keep running.
But that, right, but so that to me is, I have a kind of a twofold concern here. And I'm not trying to concern troll. I think this is legitimate. I'm not the last year, I think your take that criticizing Jalen was wildly unfair because they were blasting people. They were scoring a ton of points and blasting people. So why would you change anything up offensively? This year, these games have been in the balance, right? And they're not scoring huge points. So, that's the first legitimate concern. The second legitimate concern from that graphic is, man, oh man, we got to think at some point you're going to be trailing and have to open it up. And if you have not gotten some reps of opening it up beforehand, now last year they didn't have to. You know what I mean? That's from you just showed it. From week 6 on, they never had to. And they were never trailing, and Saquon was ripping off these huge runs. I don't think it is going to be as smooth sailing starting maybe this weekend, where I don't think the Eagles have the personnel to cover Puka and Devontae. You know what I mean?
I think we know that if they have to air it out, Jalen can do it. And I agree. Obviously, the new coordinator.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things.
I don't like all bombs or short passes, so they do have to get some more immediate.
Jalen's the only starting quarterback without a passing touchdown. Yeah, a little weird. Check in on the Chiefs practice, where there was some good news and some curious news. We'll start with the good news. Xavier Worthy listed as limited, but seems to be getting better. Here's Patrick Mahomes. Take a listen.
Yeah, I think more than anything, is having him out there is just a threat in general. I mean, he can at any moment take a pass, and short or long, and he could take it to the house. And so having him out on the practice field was very encouraging last week, because, I mean, obviously we didn't know after that injury in Brazil, but seeing him out there, I mean, he wanted to stay out there. It was kind of like holding him back. And so hopefully we can go through a good week of practice and have him out there.
Now, one curious bit of news here on the Chiefs' injury report in yellow there, Patrick Mahomes, right wrist.
Full participant.
But something. So do you want to comment on that or talk about the return of
listen,
Xavier Worthy?
Fake news hat not coming on. I don't have anything to report or any intel on that other than, please God, let him be okay. all I can report is Patrick Mahomes' right wrist is not something that I want to read on any injury report the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And so that is, but glass half full side of it is, I think Tom Brady was listed, I think either with a hamstring or a knee, on full participant hamstring, or I can't remember, every injury report for a decade straight. Now, that also was kind of the Patriot way, gamesmanship. He wasn't on the injury report a week ago, so that is new. As far as Xavier fixing all of the Chiefs' problems, he will fix some of the Chiefs' problems, and I hope Xavier has spent his time not only rehabbing, but watching a ton of Reggie Wayne film, because I want Xavier to catch the ball and get down. Reggie Wayne was one of the best ever at, if it is not smooth sailing to the end zone, we are getting down and getting on to the next play. And I think at least early on, that's going to be very important as his shoulder continues to strengthen. Xavier is not going to fix the fact that the Chiefs running backs right now can only run to darkness and not daylight. And this stat right here is the worst stat in the NFL. Patrick Mahomes, 13 rushes, 123 yards, better than Drake May last year, KW, on rushes. I mean, up with Mike Vick and Randall Cunningham, 9.5 yards per carry. The Chiefs this year are top 5 in explosive plays in the NFL, which is 20-yard passes or 10-yard runs, because they have 9 10-yard runs. It's all Patrick.
Yep.
You know, literally, like that right-hand column does not get fixed by Xavier Worthy. And I also think because of the injury, they are going to be less apt to use Xavier in a way they liked last year, and that they used him in the second play of their season this year, which is an end-around run. And so, no, certainly defense, obviously Worthy's going to have no impact on. And offense, he is going to help. But the running game has to at least have a pulse for the Chiefs' passing offense to fully open up.
Well, the run game is going to be what it is. Like, neither one of them, especially if Pacheco, if this is who he is now after the injury, it's not going to be great. You just hope it can be adequate. But for him, it depends on how they use him. Like, he could help if they use him like they have in the past, he could help the run game on, like you said, end around sweeps, jet sweeps, things like that, which he has done damage on. And he also can run after the catch. I mean, but if he's going to be getting down. So a lot of it depends on are they cautious with him because of the shoulder, or do they just play him the normal way? If they play him the normal way and he's capable of that, he helps a lot. You're right.
Yeah.
Even the defense hasn't been as good as last year.
Sure,
like, it's early, of course, but their scoring defense is the lowest ranked it's been in the league since Mahomes was a rookie. So the defense has to step it up too, the run game obviously. But if he can if he steps in there and plays like he's not injured, that is huge. They lost by 6 points to the Chargers. They lost by 3 points to the Eagles. He might make a difference. They could be 2-0. Real talk. They could be 2-0 with Xavier Worthy because he stretches the field. You know, he can run, like we said, the jet sweeps. Remember what he became.
Yeah.
His last 3 regular season games, he was averaging 7 catches per game. In the playoffs, he led the playoffs with 19 receptions, almost 300 yards. I get in the Super Bowl, a little bit was after the game was over, but still, the first 2 playoff games, he was great. So he was en route to becoming somewhat of an elite receiver.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of flashing red lights about the Chiefs that I'm personally worried about, not only because I'm beloved in Kansas City.
Of course, have your own day.
But it would be terrible for you. You would be in an all-time bad mood. All-timer.
I'm never in a bad mood.
He's never been on TV with the Chiefs being bad.
That might be true.
Is that 2017?
We'd have to.
Well, I mean, Mahomes' rookie year was my
tape.
first year on TV, but he didn't play that year. But they
his
weren't
rookie,
bad.
right, his
But they
rookie.
weren't bad.
But
They
you can
were.
still
They were
We're like,
playoff.
they can't run the ball. Xavier Worthy is injured, so like we can have him in a limited way, but hopefully he can stretch the field.
Well, I don't know how they're going to use him.
Mahomes pops up on the injury report.
Yeah, that would
the defense
derail
is not playing, spectacular.
But if Mahomes,
There's just a lot of lights flashing. Watch out.
If he's fine and Worthy can be used 95% of what he is.
So listen, my
guess
is I do not think Worthy is going to be limited in any real capacity from this injury. The concern is, will he re-injure it? So this is like a lower body injury limits what you can do. This type of injury, from all my reading and understanding, is he will be the old Xavier, the normal Xavier Worthy, but the risk of re-injury on something like this
crazy high,
is,
and it doesn't feel out of bounds.
A small guy like that, he
right?
Can take
It's
a shot.
what I read is it's like a 50-50 proposition as far as him getting through the rest of the year. And what the doctors seemingly are universal on is the surgery he avoided. If it pops out again, he has to have.
Yep.
And so that's where I'm saying give up the extra yards, you know what I mean, as he gets stronger. But I agree with Brew in this regard. I truly believe that the Chiefs would have had a real shot at beating the Chargers if Xavier had gotten hurt in practice.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Forget him being out there. I'm saying that the fact that he was I know this, he was the focal point of that game's offensive game plan, and losing him immediately, threw it off entirely. Yep. And the Eagles game, as annoying as it was to lose and frustrating, that game wasn't a game that made me feel worse about Kansas City.
No.
You know what I mean? It felt like it made me feel a little better about the Eagles. It didn't make me feel, because I was so down on the Chiefs' defense after week 1. I thought the defense handled itself quite well in week 2. But yeah, they are now in hold on mode until Rasheed gets back, and with the hope being that week 7, for the first time ever, Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, and Rashee Rice, which was supposed to be the Chiefs receiving core at the start of last year, can play its first snap together. Those 3 guys have played 0 snaps together ever. The hope is week 7 that finally happens.
KC in New York Sunday night. Aaron Rodgers headed to New England and looking to bounce back from last week's loss against the Seahawks. Here he is on how the Steelers get right. Take a listen.
I don't like getting too binary, but winning, that's a good response. But we can't get attached to the binary system that our league is judged on necessarily, because it is a 17-game season and the process has to be great. So just dig into the details in the process, enjoy it, practice well, and then let game day take care of itself.
Okay. Drew, can Rodgers afford back-to-back losses here?
No. The season, this would bring such a damper on the season if he loses this game.
Why?
Because their early schedule
Was supposed to be the easy part.
Like, even after this, look at this. They were supposed to, Seattle, look, they're a decent team. New England's beatable. Minnesota without even with J.J. McCarthy, but their quarterback position's bad, so they're beatable. Is that Cleveland?
Yep. Yes.
Yeah, Cleveland, and then the Bengals now without Burrow. Like, you're supposed to start, they still have a chance, 5-1, 4-2 at the worst, if you're going to be a legitimate
totally
playoff team, right? And so if you lose this game, and New England's not a bad team, but then any team could beat you. You could lose to anybody. And so now, whereas a week ago Pittsburgh was thinking really excited in that locker room about the possibilities, they lose to New England. You're 1-2. I just think the morale would drop immensely, and it would be terrible for their season.
Yeah, we talk a lot about, week 1 can be a liar and we don't know what we're seeing, all these things. I think there's a good chance that if in week 11 a team beats the Jets 34-32 on a 60-yard field goal near the end of the game, we're going to say, what an awful win. You know what I mean? That is,
yep.
You let the Jets score 30, you needed and I think it was a 60-yarder by Boswell, I don't remember. I know that Tomlin was like, we have a serial killer as our kicker. So in my opinion, week 1 was not good for the Steelers because they got what I believed and still believe to be unsustainable quarterback play, and the defense looked like a mess. Week 2, the defense still looked like a mess, and you got much closer to the quarterback play I expect. Week 3, and again, I picked the Patriots to go to the playoffs. I don't think they're a bad team necessarily. Again, it's very early. I do think that a Steelers' path to the postseason likely involves the Patriots not getting in.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Well,
or having the tiebreaker.
You could battle with
exactly, that's what I mean. A tiebreaker with them. And so Aaron Rodgers, just have a normal press conference challenge, please. The whole, I don't believe in the binary nature of the NFL. Buddy, if anything in life is fairly binary, it's pro sports.
Right.
It's there's a winner and there's a loser.
He's trying to dress it up, but he's like...
I understand.
We don't need to hear that, because at the end of the day, all that matters is winning.
Right, it is truly...
And you know that as well as anybody.
I know, but he's saying, if we played well and lost...
But
that's
I'm saying
not good.
That would bode well for us.
I disagree. I think that is true for. I think terrible teams and great teams, it's process over results. You know, if that what I mean. If that makes sense. Like a great team, Baltimore. There's a lot of good that they can take from week 1, some bad as well. But they're like, we're going to be okay. You know what I mean? And for the Jets. There was probably a lot, you know what I mean? It's like, hey, there's a lot of good to build on week 1. They weren't able to do it. For a team that's fighting for, then it's just win ugly. And here is to me the concerning number that I tried to give you guys on Monday, but I didn't have it and I butchered it. Rodgers with time to throw last week was when he was terrible. The only stuff that worked was quick.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So just frame it maybe a little bit differently. It was when it snapped ball out of his hands, that's when he had his success. And it's not like he had a ton because he had 140 of his yards like this. But 0 touchdowns, 2 picks, sacked 3 times, pressured 64% of the time.
Oh, well.
That's the part that to me is the concern because Milton Williams thus far has been a good signing for you guys. And I think that Rodgers is going to be on his back this weekend, and that's a problem.
If he's pressured, what did you say, 64% of the time?
Well, 64%
when he's had more time.
When he had,
okay. Patriots are 6th in pressure rate,
and
43%
first in
of that
sacks.
First in sacks, which is pretty good. Sack Geno got to Tua. Feels like we will be able to get to Aaron Rodgers and kill some drives. I think we'd be all right.
The other thing is this: if I'm in Pittsburgh as a fan, I'm saying, okay, Denver doesn't look like they're what people expected. I'm certainly not writing off the Chiefs, but Cincinnati now, Burrow is out. There's probably one. It feels like there could be one team from the AFC East.
It's open, bro.
The AFC West is. I mean, they all might be. AFC South, they all might be around 9 and 8 or something like that. So the path for Pittsburgh to get in the playoffs is wide open. And if you lose this game, that's going to be demoralizing.
Yes.
I'll be in the building.
I mean, sorry,
not to me.
no
I'll
offense.
be happy.
Are
Are the Cowboys going to light up the Bears, or is it the other way around? Dun, dun, dun. Next on FS1, the Fox Sports Channel. The podcast has been excellent, and there's new content on the YouTube page, which used to feature me, Nick, and Brew, but now just features Gianna. So I guess that's the way the YouTube channel is going. Gianna is the star, and we are the subhead.
Anything's better than that thing we tried out briefly.
Which is what?
Your solo project.
Cowboys favored by 1.5 in Chicago Sunday at 4 on Fox. Teams have lit up the Bears defense. Both NFC Offensive Players of the Week, J.J. McCarthy, who had 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, and Jared Goff, who had 5 touchdowns. I don't even know if he played the fourth quarter. They both won Offensive Player of the Week because they got to go up against the Bears. So, what would another Cowboys offensive explosion prove to you?
All right, micro, macro. Okay. Micro, for the show specifically, we might all have to, privately, not publicly.
Privately.
Give Coach an apology or buy him lunch or something.
For what?
We could do that publicly.
Because we were all
doesn't have to be private.
We were all paying lip service to the idea that Brian Schottenheimer might have been a good hire because
Can I
what?
Me and Brew were
we
never
didn't
on that corner.
Yeah, we were
that
just
was
like,
a
hey,
Nick
we'll
Wright
see. Maybe
exclusive. Yeah, we don't know.
You have to buy lunch.
Don't drag us into your
we were
calamity.
never even talking about him.
All right, so I might have to apologize to Coach because I thought the hire made no sense, and I was tried to be kind because he's Coach's guy. I'm like, makes this a disaster. And through 2 games, and if we're talking about an offensive explosion, he seems innovative, and the offense seems more I know they scored a bunch of points with Mike McCarthy a couple years ago, but the offense does seem more dynamic without as many weapons as the Cowboys under McCarthy had. They had better offense. They had a Hall of Fame offensive linemen. They had a better running game a couple of years ago. So I think that's on the micro. On the macro, I will have to start when I'm doing my weekly. All right, what do I think at this moment the playoff field could be or would be is start to include the Cowboys because, and this to his credit was Danny's point before the year, if you have a great offense, you're in the mix, no matter what your defense looks like. And the Cowboys thus far are proving that exact point. The great offense, even with the defense that's been really bad, has kept them in the mix.
Look, I agree they would be in the playoff mix. And when you look at some of the teams that aren't quite as good as we expected, Washington might, have a tough year. Obviously, Minnesota and Chicago. They'll be in the mix, but I don't think they prove anything this weekend by beating Chicago. I don't care if they beat them 45-24. Like, they can't – they're supposed to do that against these Bears. J.J. McCarthy looked all world in the fourth quarter, and then Russell Wilson – who hasn't looked good in
that was against Cowboys. It was Jared Goff.
I'm sorry. Yeah, Jared Goff looked fantastic, and he's obviously a good quarterback, but after the way he struggled in week 1.
Passer rating was 156.
Yeah, I mean, so if that goes out, it'll be a great win, don't get me wrong. But him going out there throwing 3 or 4 touchdowns, close to 300 yards, will be like, okay, great win. We are putting ourselves in the playoff mix. We got a great chance to start 4-2 or maybe better, but they got Green Bay next week. You got momentum going into that. But Coach, I expect them, like seeing what Chicago's defenses look like, I expect this good offense to have its way with the Bears.
Yeah, so the numbers are pretty bleak for Chicago right now. 32nd in points, 30th in sacks, 28th in total yards, 27th in rushing, 22nd in passing defensively. And then when I went and looked and I said, okay, well, do they bring a lot of pressure? They're dead last in the amount of pressure they bring. So here's one thing Chicago would do: blitz more. They're
It's surprising a Dennis Allen defense has been this passive.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be much more. The numbers would be much more aggressive than they were, and if you're not having production, at some point you don't want to die by 1,000 paper cuts. You might as well go take some chances and try to create some negative plays. The thing that could be learned here is if Dallas's offense doesn't have an explosive game, I think that's problematic.
Yes.
And then the flip side of that is if Dallas's defense has another bad performance, that could also be a huge concern. So it's more about Dallas not performing those two areas as opposed to, going and performing really well.
Coach, you're big on defenses get better as the team learns and sort of melds with the defensive coordinator. So there's two new defensive coordinators. Which defense, in your mind, is going to improve at a faster rate?
Well, with Matt's defense, he brings a lot of pressure more on third downs. That's where he'll bring the exotics. First and second down tend to be more vanilla with a lot of effort, intensity, going to the ball. And a lot of guys really like that because they're not necessarily thinking about the adjustment. They're just going and they're playing. And then he brings the complicated stuff more on third down. So that formula's worked for him well over his time in the league. Dennis Allen's done a lot of good things, but it may be a little bit like Zimmer last year, where it takes more time for them to get used to what he's trying to do than what Matt's trying to do in Dallas. Because what Matt's doing in Dallas right now is way easier than what they were doing last year.
Well, and listen, I want to get back to the Cowboys offense in a second, but you guys talking about Matt, in case the audience doesn't know, that's Matt Eberflus, fired head coach of the Chicago Bears. And that's another piece as far as concern for the Cowboys if their defense doesn't look better than it has looked up to this point this season. If anybody knows the strengths and the weaknesses of Caleb Williams, one would hope it'd be Matt Eberflus. You know what I mean? And the strengths and the weaknesses, well, the offensive line, not so much because they remade it in the offseason. But that part, that you would think is a potential edge for Dallas in that. But to the Cowboys offense, just quickly, we were saying, it might have been you, Coach, in the offseason about, hey, the Cowboys are trying to be their version of last year's Bengals. Last year's Bengals, we said were dangerous. I didn't, but a lot of people said were dangerous, right? I understand Dak is not considered in the same regard as Joe Burrow. I get that. CeeDee Lamb, though, is great. George Pickens, up to this point, has been fine. You know what I mean? At least is a threat on the outside. And that, the Cowboys' defense, I don't think we expect, it's not going to be worse than last year's Bengals defense. I guess up to this point it's been as bad. But that is a viable path to, being a tough out, so to speak.
But I don't think they'd be like a Super Bowl contender.
But I didn't think, the only reason the Bengals were ever considered a Super Bowl contender was because 4 years ago, once Joe Burrow beat Patrick Mahomes. That's the only reason last year's Bengals, it was like, well, and if they draw the Chiefs don't want them because that happened, 4 years ago. But you alluded to it. The Cowboys' schedule, I do think if they win this game, they're set up really well to be 4-2 because the Packers game, even if we just pencil that as a loss, Jets-Panthers, that's a hell of a first third of the season.
And then the next three aren't. Heck, the next four.
Yeah.
Dallas has been a little bit banged up in the secondary, but they've got guys in the secondary that can turn the ball over. Yeah. That was a big part of their success a few years ago. Yeah. If they can get back to that.
But can those guys cover for long enough without a pass rush, without Micah?
Well, I know Mike is Superman.
It sure seems like they miss him.
Darn good.
Coach, it sure seems like they miss him. Can you imagine if
they had Micah?
They should see if they could trade Kenny Clark and a couple first-round picks for Micah Parsons.
Bills hosting the Dolphins. Line is at 12.5. Josh has cooked in this situation. 8-0 against the Dolphins at home. 7-0 on Thursday Night Football. Brew, are you giving Miami, one of your favorite teams, any chance tonight?
What are the Bills?
We don't
a
have
tough
A good team.
Oh, good team.
A good team. Then no. This is not to be mean. I like Tua. This is a fact.
Do you?
I do.
Tua's probably thinking, like me less.
Yeah.
He's 3-10 the last 2 years against teams with winning records.
3 wins.
All right.
Though.
He's 1-8 career against the Bills.
1 win though.
No, I give the Dolphins less chance than I'm giving coaches Giants this weekend. Ooh. And the Giants, of course, they play the Chiefs. I give the Giants more of a chance of beating the Chiefs than I give Miami of beating Buffalo. So no way.
Yeah, I was going through the stats and trying to find something encouraging for Dolphins fans, and it was really hard. And then I was thinking, well, maybe road underdogs on a Thursday night. Like that, those numbers are better.
You call me.
But they're not. They're actually less. They're 26% as opposed to underdogs on Sunday or Monday. So that wasn't good. However, Dolphins fans,
Found something?
I found something. Last year against the Bills in Buffalo. Do you remember what happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tua was great.
25 for 28, 89.3% completion, 231 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 124.9 quarterback rating. They lost on a 61-yard field goal, but he played as well as you could possibly play. So there is hope. There is hope tonight for Miami.
All right. So
Something.
I mean, I hope it's a good
It's as good as
It'd be great
he
if it's a
played.
good game.
I think this game probably should be a lot like last week's Bills game, where it's 30-10 and it's not that close. You know what I mean? Where the Bills take the foot off their gas. However, I was perusing the Bills' injury report going into this game, and some concerning things jump out at you. Ed Oliver, out. Matt Milano, out. 2 guys in their secondary, questionable, and then a third player, a third starter who I'm forgetting, questionable. So that gave me a touch of pause. The fact that we do know that, as Coach pointed out, this offense, if it has time, can be prolific, that, you know what I mean, gave me a bit of pause. And the fact that Mike McDaniel knows this is an absolute kitchen sink moment for him. Like that if he wins this game, it honestly might get him the rest of the year. Yeah. Like it steadies the team, and if they lose this game, he could be fired. We could have on the show tomorrow breaking news. You know what I mean? Mike McDaniel fired. I always think
Coach?
it's
like 3 feels early.
Yeah, I don't remember Stephen Ross firing people this early.
No, and listen, and I think it's bad process to ever bring a coach back and then anything happening during September and you fire the guy. But it feels like that seat's the hottest of any coach. And so I am not ruling out the possibility that on a short week with a very banged up Bills defense up front and a Bills secondary that I don't think is very good to begin with, that all of a sudden we're in a shootout. Like I think that is an on the board option here tonight. And so am I giving them any chance? I'm giving them a chance. Yes.
Nick took him.
No, I didn't take it. My buddy Nacho, who's playing poker in Korea, asked me my handicap on this game, so I dug in for him, and that's
your
what
buddy
I came up
Nacho is playing poker in Korea.
Nacho Barbero, one of the greatest poker players in the world. He's playing in Korea, and he's got to get this bet in before he goes to bed.
What day is it?
It's no way to tell.
Brock Purdy back at practice. Brandon Ayuk isn't set to come back for a few weeks, but he was seen running, so that's a good sign. Now, Shanahan says there's a good chance that Brock plays against the Cardinals. Friend of the show, Calais Campbell, was on NFL Insiders and was asked about who he'd rather face and perhaps a little gamesmanship, but let's take a listen.
You want a truthful answer? The truthful answer is I'd much rather play against Mac Jones. But at the same time, I mean, it's football. And that's not a shot because Mac is a first-round talent, and he can do all the things. Yeah. He just hasn't been that defense. He hasn't been that offense a long time, so he just is still going through it. But with Brock, I mean, he's a master of that offense.
Kind of hurt my feelings a little bit. Time to buy stock in the undefeated 49ers and your response to Calais Campbell.
Do you two want to apologize to me? Because for the last week, Coach, they've been dropping little hints that Mac Jones might be as good or heck better than Brock Purdy. Calais Campbell could not keep a straight face. It was the funniest thing he's heard all week. I mean, he was cracking up. Like,
He's
really?
the one who said
You're
it.
really asking me this? I'm just.
Okay.
I appreciate the honesty from Calais Campbell. I think they would be both very good quarterbacks. I think the issue is that I will ask you, if you're going from a 49ers perspective, if there's a healthy Mac Jones who just lit up the Saints defense, or a somewhat healthy Brock Purdy, I think that's a fair question.
I would, if Brock's 80%, I would probably play Mac. I mean, I just want to get Brock healthy. They got enough injuries. Get him as healthy as you can before you bring him back. But it is important for them to stack wins. I mean, Arizona's 2-0, but they haven't looked good. Mm-hmm. It is a
The Rams are
division
really
game.
good.
Yeah, the Rams are going to be good. Look, I don't think, well, let me put it this way. The Niners have to keep stacking these wins before they get Ayuk and Kittle back. If they can have a strong record when they get those two back with Purdy, and I assume Christian McCaffrey, if he stays healthy, will get going at some point. He's averaging like 3.5 yards a carry. Then they could be in business. I don't think they're on the level of Green Bay and Philly and maybe Detroit, maybe the Rams, but I think they are a playoff team if they can get healthy. So they have to stack these wins before those guys get back.
Yeah, it was funny. Calais laughs like that and tries to reel it back in with, oh, no, but he is a first-round talent. But it is interesting. There's not many quarterbacks that you think of as elite franchise quarterbacks where you'd say, if he was 80%, I'd rather play the backup. I don't think in Buffalo they'd say, well, if Josh is 80%, I'd rather play backup. If Lamar is 80%, I'd rather. So there's
Patrick,
that.
throw Gardner out there. Gardner
because he could get hurt. Yeah, I wasn't saying it because Mac's going to be better. I'm just.
But to your point, I thought the same thing. So Brock has the hurt shoulder and foot,
toe.
right?
Yeah.
So he's got two different things that are bothering him. Mac Jones went out. He had the 3 touchdowns, no picks. Brock had the 2 interceptions in the first game. Their numbers, when you look at them, were very comparable, and you can make an argument that he faced an easier opponent, but you can also make the argument he hasn't played in a very long time, so Brock should be significantly better than Mac is. So it's hard for me to buy stock in the 49ers. We talked about how easy their schedule was, or that they had the easiest schedule. We talked about the volume of injuries, and I didn't have Brock Purdy as being one of those injuries we had to consider. And CMC's back, but how long is he back for? And he's really not running the ball very well. He's only catching the ball well, which in this offense is problematic.
Yeah, so a couple things. One is, I never said and did not think Mac Jones was better than Brock Purdy. I did find it noteworthy that a player that we all agree, except for Kevin Wildes, is not a starting NFL quarterback, got dropped into the Niners and looked like not only a starting NFL quarterback, a good starting NFL quarterback. Just another data point in my own. This guy. Now he's called him for a Pro Bowl.
That's an actual fact.
Every time Wild says that, you get mad at him. But that's neither here nor there.
They go to the Pro Bowl.
He's a Pro Bowler, like, gosh darn it. Tyler Huntley. Thank you, KW. You got my back there.
Also like Joe Burrow.
Well, yeah.
They're all Pro Bowlers.
It's all the exact same. But I will not be buying stock in the Niners, and it's not about Purdy. It's for 2 reasons. One is, I am of the belief that the most important offensive player, other than maybe Trent Williams, oddly, on that team is not Purdy, it's Christian McCaffrey. And McCaffrey, while they have fed him the ball, has not. Look, it is alarming to me that he has not been explosive the way we are. Christian McCaffrey has been very simple to figure out throughout his career. When he's out there, he is a dynamic game changer.
Yep.
The question is he going to be out there? Very small sample, obviously, but through 2 weeks, he's been out there, and he's just
I'm
been out
surprised
there.
you're surprised just knowing how you look at the age of running back.
Yeah,
I mean,
so maybe I shouldn't be. And maybe I oddly, it was like McCaffrey's older and has had a lot of injuries, but because of the injuries, doesn't have as much wear and tear. But yeah, I mean, I went into the year saying if he's healthy, I think he's top 3 back. He has not been close to that up to that point. But the other reason is the biggest thing the Niners had going for them narratively going into the year was the schedule. It wasn't about how good they were, it was the schedule. And I don't know, Hubs, if we have their schedule, but the point is, schedule all of a sudden doesn't look as easy as we thought it did. Because the NFC West, everybody's division. I mean, the Cardinals we think are bad, but they're undefeated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We saw them play Seattle. Not obviously they won, but that game came down to the final minutes. The Rams are excellent. And then, so yes, and then another game that we all thought was going to be a super easy game, the Colts. The Colts, again, I don't believe in them, but they're still undefeated. Like, it's not quite as many soft spots. Again, I think it's a below average schedule. Sure. But, you know, as I've been trying to tell Coach for years, in the offseason, you can't just judge a team's schedule. You don't know who they're going to be.
I've always been a schedule guy.
Right, he's always
told me to relax.
And so, like, you take that, and then the point that I don't know if it was on the air or off the air yesterday we were talking about, which is maybe the upper class of the AFC is still better than the upper class of the NFC. But the NFC, like upper, middle class, to me, is the stronger of the two conferences. So I think getting a wild card spot in the NFC this year is going to be much harder than in the AFC and much harder than in years past. And so all that makes me not want to buy stock in the Niners.
Start Mac Jones.
I think they're going to, Kato.
I think they are too.
I think they give him one more week.
I think
one more week. You don't want Purdy to go out there and look bad in the first half and be like, what do you think about Mac Jones?
And also, Jonathan Gannon likes heating the quarterback up. Like he's going to send. Now, listen, Purdy's more mobile even with an injury than statuesque.
A little bit.
No, he can't.
Well, pull the Pro Bowl tape.
A little bit.
I think he might be the least mobile starting quarterback under the age of 35.
Yeah, he might be.
Pull the Pro Bowl tape. He's going to bring in the Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
Granted, the play was dead, but still. Budless, most motivational segment in all of sports, is next.
Once upon a mundane morning, Barb's day got busy without warning. A realtor in need of an open house sign. No, 50 of them, and designed before 9.
My head hurts.
Any mighty tools to help with this plight? Aha! Barb made her move. She opened Canva and got in the groove.
Bulk creating Canva sheets. Create 50 signs fit for suburban streets.
Done in a click, all complete.
Sweet!
Now, imagine what your dreams can become when you put imagination to work at Canva.com.
Live from New York, it is the show that is excited for Steelers Patriots. We all agree on that, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if I were to power rank the games this weekend we're excited for, I don't know if Steelers Patriots. I know it doesn't make the top 5.
Well, I'll tell you one you shouldn't be
There's some
excited
storylines there.
Giants Chiefs.
What? Why?
I wouldn't be excited for that one.
I got to tell you the truth.
I'll be watching that one like this the whole time.
You're going to be watching it in the passenger seat of your car while your wife drives you and your sons home from Foxborough. That's what's going to happen.
Russell Wilson, lighten up the seats.
Second hour, first things first. Today, Patrick Mahomes popped up on the injury report. Is this something or nothing? Probably nothing, but something. Meanwhile, Dolphins-Bills tonight. What are the consequences for Miami if they lose and fall to 0-3? Ouch. But right now, of course, it's time for the most motivational segment in all of sports. Also, a time where we read some viewer mail. Christina is producing First Things First overtime.
Yeah.
But she still finds time in her busy day to go to the post office.
We have interns now. We could send them to the post office. Christina got a promotion.
He said he didn't because Christina went.
Very nice of her.
Next week, one of them got to go.
He's smiling like he wants to.
There's only one letter there. It's not huge. Dear Wilds, love the show. What music do you guys listen to before the show? Cheers, Don Sr. Well, thank you, Don Sr. A lot of times we listen to different stuff, but recently we've been listening to some fan-made music, and we can share with you. Brew, take a listen.
Cowboy brew, we don't like it, we love it. Spinning yarns on FTF, he's the king of the pulpit.
This is so good.
With his hat tipped low and his take so bold. Break dancers for Dolphins, color soft as gold. From tomato cans to F games, Cowboy brew.
Why could we play Cowboy Brew and not Captain Easy
That is
Sense?
going to be.
There was a clearance issue with
There
Captain
was not.
Easy
I
Stance.
talked to
We
Kalen
couldn't-
Galladay, who made the
use
songs. The Captain Easy Sense song got cleared as well. Maybe next week. I don't
Maybe.
know. Yeah.
Shout out to Kalen Galladay, as you said. I thanked him on X.
Yes.
And we saw him in Kansas City.
Yes.
I didn't get to see him, but
Yeah,
you guys saw him.
absolutely.
So I like the song.
That was a great
I
song.
think it could be a country western hit.
I gotta tell you guys, if you go to the First Things First Twitter account, that song is 4.5 minutes long.
Yeah, it's kind
Yeah,
of
it's
It's
good.
excellent.
It's long,
It's
but
A
it's
lot of
great.
Easter eggs, the kids say.
Oh yeah, there
Not
are.
an Easter thing, but
Yeah.
like a.
We understand.
It's the extended version.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Number 3. Now, you guys going to be surprised by this one because he's not a star.
Oh, good.
All right, but I'm trying to motivate him. Jake Browning.
What?
This is his chance. Jake, this is your chance to show teams, and maybe next year, maybe he could be in the mix somewhere to be a starting quarterback. Now, it's possible, I guess, Coach, that the Bengals will want to keep him. Like, if he plays really well, they might want to keep him because Burrow's an injury risk. But he's got a chance to show his stuff. Obviously, you're never happy when someone's injured. But if you're Jake Browning, you're like, man, this is my opportunity. And 2 years ago, when Burrow was hurt, Burrow played 10 games. Browning played 7, so it's a decent sample size. His numbers, I'm not implying he's better than Burrow, but that year, his numbers across the board were better than Joe
What
Burrow.
are you
Love it.
implying? It?
I'm
is that
implying that Jake Browning is a good backup.
Like it,
Like,
Brew?
and
That's what,
I'm.
those numbers don't imply that.
What do they imply?
You tell me.
That was Burrow playing banged up. But look, Jake Browning
True.
They're better
It's
than
just-
Drake
had a
May.
good year that
Oh
year.
wow! Did you hear Coach? He said they're better than
That's-
Drake May's
that's-
numbers.
They are. They
No,
actually.
I think what Brew's saying is they just proved Joe Burrow's a system quarterback. That's your take, right?
Well, I'm also saying this, or I am saying this. I told you guys the other day, I don't think they'll make the playoffs, but there's a path. If Browning comes, he was pretty good against Jacksonville. I know he threw the 3 interceptions.
Yeah.
But he threw 2 interceptions, ran for the game-winning
Threw 2
touchdown.
touchdowns.
Threw 2 touchdowns, ran for the game-winning touchdown with 18 seconds left. He outplayed Nick Wright's All-American Trevor Lawrence. I mean, so they got Minnesota, which we know is
Starting
questions
Carson
at quarter.
Wentz.
Yeah, Carson Wentz starting. Denver, which doesn't look great. If you can split with Pittsburgh, you got the Giants, Chicago, New England, Miami, and Arizona. Now, those are 8
path.
possible wins, and you already have 2. That could be 10. I'm just saying there
Someone's
is a
got to
path.
be first to market with it. It's not going to be me, but it's out there. It's not out there. I should
What?
say.
That he's better than Burrow? Is that what you're? I'm not saying
I'm
that.
saying it's a take that's available.
I
I'm
don't
like,
want
you know,
that
I'm like a take real estate
He's
agent.
saying that Browning has a chance to keep this ship going.
Okay,
I like that.
I'll go with that, but
I
I'm
like
not
it.
saying he's better than Burrow. Don't try to put that on me.
It's an open lot of land. That's all I'm saying.
All right, at number
Come
2,
look at it.
Dak. All right, Dak. I like Dak. He's playing well. But I have heard, I don't know if you guys have heard, I've heard rumblings. I've heard people saying he's played better than any quarterback in the league thus far.
I am not.
That is crazy. All right. I mean, he's played well, but he's got 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He's got an 88 passer rating. Like, how's that better than some of the guys, Justin Herbert and Lamar Jackson, all these guys have been flinging it around the yard. But Dak, this is an opportunity to, I guess now, face the team that's so far known around the league as the stat padding opportunity.
Yeah.
The Chicago Bears, J.J. McCarthy, Jared Goff, NFC Offensive Players of the Week after facing the Bears. This is your chance to light it up and pad your stats. More importantly, Dak seems to benefit from this quite a bit, but the expectations have been lowered, right? If you can just get the Cowboys into the playoffs, that will be viewed as a grand success. Everybody will be singing Dak's praises. You get this win against Chicago, you guys are setting up to be in good position to make a run at the playoffs, and that'd be great for Dak. If not, if you lose this game to Chicago, I think that is a huge negative for the season. You got Green Bay coming up. They're probably going to put it on you. And if you guys have a bad season, the highest paid player in the history of the NFL could be back at home watching the playoffs like us on the couch. So, Dak, I do believe in you, somewhat. All right, at number 1, Tua.
Yeah.
And Tua, he is on the hot seat just like his coach, Mike McDaniel. Now, something this year seems off because one thing Tua has done is win a lot of games, particularly against tomato cans. And look, Indy, who was the second team they beat? They beat Indy, or they lost to Indy and they lost to the Patriots. Tomato can adjacent. I'm sorry. Those are tomato can adjacent. Maybe in a month we'll be like actual tomato cans, and you couldn't beat them. That's surprising. And Tua's numbers. Tua usually puts up good numbers.
Yeah.
You said it. You say it all the time. He led the league in yards one time, but now your passer rating is down, Tua. Your interceptions are up. Your yards per game are down. You don't seem to be on the same page with your best receiver, Tyreek Hill. Your coach is on the hot seat. I mean, the negatives are just piling on. This is an opportunity for you to right the ship. A win, of course, would be great, but I just don't want you to get embarrassed. All right, if you go out there and you don't get embarrassed, you save your coach's job, and maybe there's a path for you guys to turn it around and have a decent season. But you cannot go out there and get crushed. You have to play much better as a team and an individual than you have thus far this season. Tua, good luck.
No, that's the worst.
Yeah.
The good luck is just the worst.
I hope he does.
How good are Thursdays, man?
Oh, what a second.
That's so fun. It's like my energy comes
Get
back.
you going,
know what I mean?
motivated.
Thank you, Greg, for that. Again, and look, the guy that I'm going to talk about, nobody thought that he could go play his former team, guys he knew really well, at a stadium he played for 2 years and lighted up with 4 touchdowns like he had done the last game he played there, except for me. So I at Aaron Rodgers and Arthur Smith on my butt list. And here's the reason why. We saw after the last game where he talked about, hey, they got to adjust a few things on first down. He was off, this guy was off, but he really didn't go full Aaron Rodgers mode where we started kind of pointing fingers. But we're not that far removed from it. Now Cam, who's a great kid, he got it in the press conference. But now they're facing a situation with New England where pressure becomes an issue, and it's both real pressure of bring blitzes. If we can bring up the stats of how Aaron played, not that one.
Okay.
Well, New England leads. New England. There we go. This is what I'm looking for. New England leads the league right now with 9 sacks. Okay, but this is what Aaron did last week against pressure. He was 3 for 11, 36 yards, a 2.8 quarterback rating, and New England's not a huge pressure team. They're about middle of the pack with 23%. But what Vrabel will do is it's like sharks to blood. If someone's struggling with it, you're going to give a lot of it until they can prove they can deal with it. And so they can get to the quarterback without bringing a lot of pressure. Now he can ramp the pressure up. And I think as Aaron gets hit more, and he's already right now 4th in the league in sacks, and things deteriorate more, I don't feel the relationship between he and Arthur Smith is that great right now in general. And it could go south in a hurry. And if they don't figure out a way to deal with the pressure and then figure out a way to come out with a win against New England.
Yeah, that's big.
Mine is similar.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But
Hold on.
Before
Wait
that,
1 second.
we can't.
Just Brew, just a heads up, by the way. In the future, because you know Thursday's kind of what I do, the thing I do, if you want to give me a heads up on who these people are that are saying Dak Prescott's playing the best quarterback of anyone in the league, it would make the media ombudsman.
I'm not the only one that heard that.
I have not heard it. I don't know. I would love if you would name names. If you would,
somebody say it.
Brew's not a name type. I am. Just shoot me a text. But KW, what?
It's 4-11. Whether you like it or not, as you wander through the halls saying, who do you want on Sports Media Ombudsman? I gave you 7 options. Whether you like it or not, it's time to see who made the final cut. Sports Media Ombudsman.
Thank you so
Here we
much,
go.
KW.
A lot of options.
So, yeah, a lot of options. So here's the deal. And I've said this, I've done this once before, Brew, but we've now reached a critical moment. People love the NFL. People now legally gamble on the NFL. People spend a huge part of their week thinking about the NFL, talking about the NFL, setting fantasy lineups, texting friends, trash talk, all of it. And what we need is accurate information about availability. So I am now, again, begging our NFL insiderati, can we please get real injury info? Monday night, I watched Khalil Mack's, poor guy, arm turn backwards. By Tuesday morning, I'm greeted with escaped serious injury, out, quote, a few weeks. Tuesday night, they put him on IR. He can't come back until October 19th. I know few is nebulous. It ain't till October 19th. I saw last week, Xavier Worthy has a fully torn labrum. Called doctors. That's actually not a thing. There's no such thing as a fully torn labrum, but he's got one and he's going to miss one game. Joe Burrow is going to miss 3 months, according to Insiderati. Yes, according to all the doctors, no chance. Like no. That's a 5-month procedure. Najee Harris, totally fine. Fireworks mishap. By the way, it's 2 games and he's carried the ball 9 times. Meanwhile, the face of the NFL is on an injury report this week. Can anybody get any info on what's up with Patrick Mahomes' wrist?
No.
Please, I'm begging you. So, in the meantime, to our viewers, here is a quick, you know those new AirPods that like translate foreign languages?
Yeah,
it's a pretty cool feature. I'm going to give you that for how to translate injuries that happen.
Oh, good.
Okay?
Here we go.
Escaped serious injury. He's out 2 weeks minimum. Okay? Not as bad as expected, but will miss a little bit of time. See him in a month at best. The team is concerned he's probably done for the year, and he's out for the season. That poor guy might be retiring. That you just see there's an injury report inflation that and now has to happen. So I'm just begging you guys. I get the contract stuff. I get putting flowery stuff on. The contract could be worth this, but it's actually worth this. It doesn't really impact us. We're trying to bet games here, folks.
Aren't they at the mercy of what they're told, though?
Yeah, but if you if every single time you and I are supposed to go to dinner, you tell me I'll be there in 10 minutes, and then you're there in 20. If I then have to convey the information, when's coach getting here? After the 6th time, I then add that in. So if every single time they're being told he'll be back in a few weeks and he's back in 6, then you convey that. Just again, I'm no journalist. Fake news hat is fake news is real. Bruised journalist, I don't know who's hurt and what the deal is. That's all.
Solid sports media ombudsman.
Yeah. Thanks, KW.
Yet again.
There was another one I could have done about, but doesn't matter.
I'm putting Drake May
Wow.
on the buzzer.
This is obviously heavy motivation.
This is very heavy motivation because I'm a little bit nervous about this one. Drake May is on the bud list, and he is very complimentary about Aaron Rodgers, who he'll be facing against this weekend in Foxborough. Take a listen to Drake May.
My favorite football player is Aaron Rodgers because he's good and I have him on my fantasy team and he's a good quarterback.
Okay, those things are all true. The other note here is, Drake, you are far younger than Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
You need to be able to show up and stay locked in, even though you are playing someone who, according to Mike Garafolo, last year when you played, remember Drake got in, it might have been his first or second time playing in garbage time against the Jets. He was waiting around for Aaron Rodgers just because he wanted to shake his hand, and he said, I'm waiting for the GOAT. All good. But a little quick story. Nah, I'm not going to tell a story. I don't even remember who it's about. No, it's a half a story. That's the problem.
Those are your best ones.
Gosh darn, it's going to be a bad story. You're going to be like, it's a bad story. Here, it's not a good story. I'll tell it anyways. I don't care. I was working at ESPN. And, you're around athletes all the time, professional athletes, everybody. You see everybody. And I remember I was walking down the hall and I saw someone. It wasn't just it was a professional athlete that I loved when I was a little boy.
Yeah, Larry Bird.
And I got super starstruck and I didn't know what to do. I'm afraid that is going to happen to Drake May. So just eliminate it out of your mind. Now you might ask me, who was that athlete? I don't know, but I remember.
You don't know.
That's why I didn't want to tell the story. It's an awkward story.
He doesn't remember.
I don't remember, but I remember having. I also Dave.
You
Winfield
got any
was in it.
idea? Like it was.
I remember
what
having
sport?
a feeling about Dave Winfield, seeing him in the cafeteria, and I was like, "Ooh, Dave Winfield."
That's
No, that wasn't what.
what position? What sport did the guy play?
Baseball, but I don't remember. It was a former Red Sox, but I don't remember. I was like going through them, like, who could it be? Wade Boggs? Like, Roger Clemens? Like, I don't remember.
Carlton
But I
Fisk?
remember the feeling. Carlton, I'm not that old. Carlton Fisk.
Yastrzemski.
He was on the White Sox. No. No. Told you it wasn't a good story. That's
Wait, that's it?
That's it?
I prefaced
We
it with
need the name.
guys.
You
feel
better
like there's
come
a
up with a
payoff.
name.
Did I not preface it with I don't want to tell the story? It's a halfway story.
You
don't have
gotta
it.
leave us with a name.
Pedro.
Did you get an
No,
autograph?
Pedro, I was still a little bit too old.
Just make it.
Fred
Marty
Lynn.
Barrett.
Fred Lynn.
I was,
Bobby Orr.
guys,
Well,
Drew Bledsoe.
not 70s Red Sox. Stop saying 70s
That's
Red
when
Sox.
I was.
I know,
kid.
not Fred Lynn. Fred Lynn was on the Orioles at that.
Manny Ramirez.
No, I was too old for Manny Ramirez.
Oh, we're running out of people.
Marty Barrett, let's say.
The guy who Buckner. It was Bill Buckner.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, couldn't have been Buckner.
I like Bill Buckner, though. It wasn't a great story.
Wow.
Brew. He's
Thank
got
goodness.
I love this song.
Yeah, thank you.
This is nice.
This picks up.
Are the Eagles being disrespected next?
I don't like it. I love it.
Thanks, Brew.
Fox NFL Sunday. Cowboys taking on the Bears in America's Game of the Week. Before that, you're going to see Rams Eagles. I mean, that's a sneaky trap game for the Eagles.
Trap. You don't understand what trap game means, buddy. I'm sorry to tell you that. I know I'm not trying to fight with you, and you know I love you. But I honestly think you just have the definition wrong in your brain.
Trap game.
Tonight.
It's an undefeated.
Tonight's a trap game.
Correct. Thank you, Coach. Tonight, it's two undefeated teams that played in the divisional round of the playoffs last year.
Packers now favored over the Eagles to win the Super Bowl. Continuing off of Micah's quote that defense wins championships. Here are the new odds. Packers, Eagles, Lions. Then a log jam at 4. The Bake Show, Mac Jones. Trap game Rams. Are these odds disrespectful to the world champs?
I don't think so at all. And I don't know, Nick, like you, what all goes into creating the odds, but I do. Look, it is tough to get back to the Super Bowl 2 years in a row. There's only 3 teams this century to do it. New England with Brady, Seattle with Russ, and of course the Chiefs. So I think if you look at that, you take that into consideration, then you say the Packers have looked better in the first 2 weeks. They have 2 resounding victories over playoff teams, if not Super Bowl contenders. Whereas the Eagles, if not for some drop passes, I'm not saying this would have happened. But they are a few drop passes away from possibly being 0-2. The Cowboys had a chance to beat them if CD doesn't drop all those balls. And with Kelsey doesn't drop that pass, who knows? So I just think the Packers have looked better, and it's tough to get back. So I don't think it's disrespectful at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's no more disrespectful than Nick putting him on the top of his tiers yesterday. And I think we're seeing their first 2 victories through last year's lens, right? So we're seeing it Detroit, but we don't really know if Detroit's what we thought of last year. And then we're seeing, the same situation with Washington. Where's Washington really gonna end up this season? So we're viewing it through that. Where the Eagles are just like Kansas City last year. Think about the wins that Kansas City had early, where Baltimore's tight end steps out of bounds by about 6 inches, or that game goes a different way. And their whole season was filled with games like that. And everybody wanted to say, well, they're lucky. Well, no, they were good, and they executed in those moments. And the Eagles are exactly who they were last year. They're boring, and they win. And to me, That's the best thing that they're doing is they're staying with the formula that brought them so much success and instead of trying to reinvent themselves. And to me, that should keep them on the top of the odds until that changes.
So let me address your 2 points in reverse order. I agree with you. There are similarities to this year's Eagles and last year's Chiefs, up to and including, some skepticism about how they're winning. My counter would be, while the Eagles have been of this, last half decade, the second most successful team, it's a bit like the Chiefs had. When in the midst of last year, they had been to 4 of 5 Super Bowls. They had won 3 of the last 5 Super Bowls. The Eagles have had great success, but to me, have not earned the full benefit of the doubt the Chiefs have, even though they've earned more of a benefit of the doubt than maybe any other team in the league. And I actually think the team that is benefiting the most in these odds from what teams did last year is Philly, not Green Bay. If Philly were not the defending Super Bowl champions, no, I don't think they would be looked at in the regard they are right now. I mean, the Cardinals are 2-0. The Rams are 2-0. It's not the record, and it's certainly, and while, yes, they have beaten one really good team, they are a team I think is really good, but all of a sudden people are questioning if the Chiefs are that good. The Cowboys are a real question mark. The reason the Eagles are as high as they are is because they're the defending champs. You know what I mean? They have the pedigree. They've won 17 or whatever in a row with Jalen playing. So, no, I don't find this disrespectful at all. I do think they are getting the championship pedigree bump of, yeah, it's ugly, and they don't have a single passing touchdown this year, and the defense, hasn't been dominant this year, but they win, and we believe in them. So I think Green Bay. Go ahead.
It's just like Kansas City. All last year, we talked about how the offense isn't what the offense is, but they find a way to win. And you're kind of saying the same thing now about the Eagles.
Yes.
They haven't done this. They haven't done those things, but they consistently find a way to win.
And by the way, and the Chiefs, because of that, often last year were not the favorites. You know what I mean? And while maybe I found that disrespectful to Kansas City because Kansas City's floor had been conference championship game, and at that point they'd been to 4 or 5 Super Bowls. The Eagles' floor has been make the playoffs but lose in round 1. I just, on Green Bay, I also, while maybe Detroit or Washington aren't quite what they were last year, we'll see, they clobbered those teams. You know what I mean? They really, and I think we all think those teams are going to be at least good. You know what I mean? And so that to me is relevant.
Let me play you this clip from.
And they have Micah Parsons. Have you seen that guy? Lawrence Taylor.
He does everything.
Brew, I want to get your.
Well, he's playing part time too so far.
Your take on this Rasheed Walker quote. Take a listen.
The goal is to keep it going. I think we can go undefeated. Honestly, personally, I feel like I always tell people I feel like we could have went undefeated the past 2 seasons. Like, we lost a lot of the games off a couple plays.
Okay, so the idea that the Packers should go undefeated, do you like that, or do you look at the camera and say,
I don't like him saying that. I mean, I'm not even trying to. I pick my spots.
Okay,
that's how I get.
Did he say he thought they could have gone undefeated last year?
That kind of took a little bit of it.
Yeah.
That might soften it because he's one of those guys and people can couch it as he just thinks they're going to win every game. But, Coach, I don't like him putting it out there this early. Look, you've had 2 great games. Micah's going to start playing even more. So everything is going great. Why even throw this out there and maybe this bulletin board fodder for someone?
Love it.
You like this?
Oh, yeah, I love it. Keep talking.
Wow.
Keep talking.
Because you
didn't pick the Packers.
Keep talking about how you're going to go undefeated.
It's not the whole team. There's some Packers also saying the exact opposite.
Also, I do have to say, Brew, you really have Wilds on tilt.
Oh,
it was so obvious that you didn't like it.
It's not so obvious.
Hold on.
It's not so obvious.
KW.
The guy is a great actor.
KW.
Not so obvious.
It was so obvious you were being sincere, and he looked over at me like, is he going to do it?
Is he?
Like, is it happening? Like, you
really
I thought you were
never know.
The misdirect.
You never know.
I'm on
You'll
high
never
alert.
know.
Yeah.
Okay, next up. Ashton Jeanty, 30 total rushing attempts, good for 15th most in the league. He responded to the challenge of getting the running game going. Take a listen.
I don't think you draft a guy like me to not give me, carries and touches, and I'm ready for the responsibility, and like I said, it's going to start with me and, in the run game, and I got to continue to get better.
This was a classic. Brew sent it over on text, and we inserted it into the show because it felt.
It's a good story.
It felt like a good quote, and then once I pulled the Brew and listened to the whole thing, it felt more reasonable.
Well,
I just wanted to put that out there, not to like tamp down.
No, listen, I think
it
that
comes across more caustic as it.
Well, okay,
Yeah,
I'm not going to attack I'm not going to attack Jeanty. Maybe he shouldn't have said it. I don't think it's a huge deal. But to answer the question, are they misusing him? The answer to that is yes.
Okay.
If you draft a guy in the top 10, you need to feed him the ball. And I'm going to show you, Coach, his numbers on something that I think even you are going to have a hard time doing anything other than being like, he's doing everything he can. Can we show his numbers? All right, so look. He has 81 rushing yards on the season. 77 of those are after contact. So he has 4 yards before contact. The bottom line is not a misprint. This year he has 3 receiving yards, but he has 16 receiving yards after contact, which means he has been getting hit, catching swing passes in the backfield, been getting hit, and then moving upfield. Do you understand what I'm saying, KW?
No.
Okay. So he has, on the year, all of his production, essentially, he has more yards after contact than he has total yards.
Oh, okay.
Because he is getting contacted in the running game and on swing passes in the backfield. So if that is an argument that the Raiders are in trouble and I shouldn't have picked them to make the playoffs because the offensive line's not good, that's maybe is the case. But if it's an argument that he hasn't been doing everything he can and that the Raiders shouldn't be giving him more opportunities, of course they should. You spend a top 6 pick on a running back, you've got to use him.
It's not that complicated. And I hate to do this, I hate to say it, but it's just the truth, Coach. Ashton Jeanty is falling victim to the Nick Wright curse.
Oh, Jesus.
Was it 2 years ago? Bijan Robinson.
I was right about
that. Oh, my gosh. What, now?
I was right about
But his
Bijan.
rookie year,
he was good.
He had some issues. He was good, but you thought he was going to take the league by storm like Earl Campbell.
Yeah.
Offensive player of the year, he's okay.
Yeah.
Now he's great. All right. Last year, of course.
This one is fair.
Caleb Williams. Taking the Bears to the promised land, baby. We're going to not only be the first 4,000-yard passer for the Bears, he's leading them to the Super Bowl.
That was a miss.
We know how that worked out. And now, Ashton Jeanty averaging 2.7 yards per carry. But that's the Raiders' fault. Pete Carroll doesn't know how to handle a running back. He only had Marshawn Lynch. He doesn't know what to do with a workhorse. And here's the other thing. Ashton Jeanty has 30 carries. You know how many carries Travis Etienne, the leading rusher in the league, has? 30! All right? How about Derrick Henry? You like to give him the ball. He's got 29. They don't want to use him in Baltimore? I mean, what are we talking about? Your boy Bijan's got 34 carries. 30 carries, 81 yards, 2.5 yards a carry.
I think he's just talking about the last game. The last game, he should have got the ball more. Geno was struggling. They couldn't protect him. He was productive when he got it.
Productive? Really? He had 43 yards.
On 11 attempts. You'll take 4 yards.
No, I won't. I want at least 4 yards
Well, maybe he's got to.
And I really want 4.5
That is
plus.
3.98 yards per carry is what he got.
I want at least 4 yards a carry. Coach knows what I'm talking about. It's a game of inches.
That's true.
Know what Ashton Jeanty should do? He should just.
Oh,
yes. When you're averaging 2 yards a carry.
When you draft a guy like me, a guy like you, a guy like you with half a yard of reception, a guy like you. Pete Carroll's been coaching 19 years. You're
Coach.
21 years old. Okay, it's 2 years different. You think he knows what he's doing? A guy like you. Remember Adrian Peterson? Adrian Peterson. We used to put 10 guys in the box.
And would you give him 11 carries?
Hold on a second. You could give him as many as you want. He found a hole.
Okay.
And then Barry Sanders. It didn't matter. That O-line got a ton of credit.
Sanders.
But yeah, because I actually coached against Barry Sanders, and the dude was like water. He could find a crack. Okay, Ashton Jeanty. How you doing in pass blocking, Ashton Jeanty?
He's struggling.
His first week it was pretty good. But how's he doing?
This is a bad rap. It's a bad rap.
Oh, it's a bad
Coach, it's a bad rap.
Here's the thing. You got to play every play, and you got to play hard with the ball not in your hands. And you did pretty good in the first game, and you did really good in college, but you can't put your quarterback at risk. You're in the game to handle all the responsibilities. So you're not being productive in the running game. You're not being productive in the passing game. You're having plays like this, and then you're talking about a guy like me. Okay, what is the guy like you? Right now, know what the guy like you is? A disappointment.
Coach, it's too early.
I love it.
Too early.
Coach brought the heat.
How is it too early? Stop talking and go produce.
Yeah, you don't be talking in third person.
The clip
when you average 2 yards a carry. Well, it's close enough. It's third person adjacent.
The blocking clip. No, it was the question.
A guy like me.
A guy like me.
He means a running back.
No.
He means a running back that did a lot of work at Boise State.
You don't draft.
Yeah.
Look,
I'm basically Barry
Sanders. I just want to say, I don't know if Nick knows. I'm just saying.
What?
He ain't from Alabama. He ain't from Ohio State.
What does that mean?
He played at Boise State. Now, I'm not saying he's not going to be great because we've seen great backs from smaller schools, but I'm just saying, let's see. I just had my questions.
Okay.
He's from Boise State. Saquon's from Penn State. Derrick Henry's from Alabama.
Hopefully he's great.
I know he's and Randy Moss was from Marshall. I understand he's from a small school.
Just saying.
I get that. And Josh Allen went
he
to
might
Wyoming.
be great. I get it.
You're talking about running back.
Walter Payton from Jackson State.
Thank
I
you,
get
bro.
it. I'm just saying it's something to watch.
Okay,
different cats in the league.
I just want to get on the record. I think if Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly had to do Monday night all over again, they would have given him more than 11 carries. That's all.
Really?
That's all. Yes. Really, bro.
Well, yeah, take the ball out of the
You got to give a guy like him.
I also think
you do. You do, Coach.
Well, when your quarterback's throwing 3 interceptions, you certainly.
Well, he doesn't get any blocking.
Chiefs preparing for the Giants. Mahomes popped up on the injury report. Ooh, I didn't see that. A little backwards, a little right in the back pass. That's nice.
Tomfoolery.
Popped up on the injury report with a right wrist. Nick, I rarely ask you for this, but can you don your fake news hat? The hat is fake, the news is real. What are you hearing about Mahomes' right wrist?
Nothing. No? Nothing. I'm not lying. If I had news, I would have started the show with it.
Put your fake hat on?
No, I don't need to put I only put the fake news hat on. The hat is fake, the news is real when I have news. I don't have news right now. You're putting me in a terrible spot. I don't know why you'd ask that when you know I don't have news.
Are you nervous that this is...
Just ask the stupid question on the bar and stuff.
I'm just saying there's just a lot of blinking red lights here. Warnings, a lot of warning signs. You know what I am? You know why I don't have
Annoying.
Do you know why I don't have a boat? Here's a true story. Why I don't have a boat?
Why?
Thanks for asking, Coach.
I can't.
The problem is when you have kids and you have a boat, you're like, we have to go on the boat right now. No matter what. This is our window. We don't have practice. This is our window to go on the boat. My parents have a boat. You know when they go on the boat? When it's a sunny day. Wow, today's a great day for the boat. Me, I don't care on what the weather is. The wind, the tide, the waves, the atmosphere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We even have gas. Are the kids in a good mood?
Yeah.
I'm going straight ahead. And guess what? It's a rough time. It's rough waters out there.
Okay. I appreciate
That's the Chiefs going into this Giants game.
Okay. Wow. I got it.
Oh, no Rashee Rice, obviously. 0-2. The defense not great. They spent the whole week complaining about last week.
That's not true.
A little bit of it. A little bit of it.
I spent the week complaining about
Kansas City media. How about that? The public voice around Kansas City still talking about the tush push. Mahomes now pops up with a wrist. Xavier Worthy's going to play, but he can't get tackled. I have horrible news for you. It's tackle football out there.
Okay.
We are going, honey. Get the picnic basket. We are in the boat. We are headed out. I'm nervous.
I can tell. I don't know about you, Coach. I don't have a boat because they seem incredibly expensive and I couldn't
Not
afford it.
that
I don't know about this guy washing his tears away with $100 bills. Hey, I'm talking about being a second
But
generation
there's a lot of danger happening out there. It's a lot of danger Sunday
listen,
night.
I am not going to take the easy way out here. And I think, Brew, you will respect this. The easy way out is to be like, oh, well, now we know why he missed some passes. He's a little banged up. Patrick would tell you he is totally fine. He is listed as a full participant. I am going to take him at his word, say this is nothing, and say that him being on the injury report and the injury is not why his throws haven't been to his standard this year. He's just been a little bit off. That's what I'm going to say, rather than give an elongated nautical analogy.
And the great news is it's not his legs. I mean, he just runs now. So
I hate it here. Gianna, I'm going to leave.
It's not an ankle injury.
I'm going to leave.
So they're good. They can still be productive offensively.
These guys, I'm telling you.
Trade him to the Raiders.
Yeah.
Nick,
Get that running game going behind Gino.
But this is scary. I mean, he is running more, and this danger who knows how
right. Let me tell you something to be totally honest and serious for a moment on the least serious, dumbest show on TV. If this were full participant right shoulder, I would be a touch concerned because I would feel like, oh, I know how that happened. Because he keeps lowering his shoulder into trying to run guys over. Yeah. Now, it's not to say he couldn't have hurt his wrist, you know what I mean? But it was the last pass he threw of the game was the bomb to Thornton that he caught. Yeah, you know what I mean? And so, like, I'm not
my gut is that it's nothing, but we'll see.
I'm worried.
You are worried.
Well, I don't have a boat.
What's with this guy?
True story.
I don't get the connection.
Yeah, we didn't. Nobody did, but he just wanted to talk about how he could have a boat.
Welcome to
Only Murders in the Building,
the official podcast.
Join me, Michael Cyril Creighton, as we go behind the scenes with some of the amazing actors, writers, and crew from season 5.
The audience should never stop suspecting anything.
How can you not be funny crawling around on a coffin?
No, that's true.
Catch Only Murders in the Building official podcast, now streaming wherever you get your podcasts. And watch Only Murders in the Building, streaming on Hulu and Hulu on Disney Plus for bundle subscribers. Terms apply.
Podcast is flying up the charts, and our YouTube channel has some exclusive content. So if you like the show, check out the YouTube channel, which has stuff that feels like the show, but isn't quite the show, but still pretty good. And tomorrow, of course, it's the hottest segment in all of sports.
Wait.
It's Upset Alert. What?
You got moved off.
I thought you. Oh.
And Nick's pick.
Oh, yeah. Coach and Greg are the winners right now.
Yeah, I lost. I had what did I have?
The dumb one.
Yeah, Browns.
Yeah, you had the Browns. They lost by 100.
Browns over Ravens. He should
Brew
lose
had a pretty dumb one, too.
It was a 12.5 point spread, which is the same as tonight's game, Dolphins at Bills. The loss would drop the Dolphins, if it happens, to 0-3, and only one 0-3 team since the turn of the century has made the playoffs. When we show up at this very table tomorrow, do we expect one of the stories to be that the Dolphins are starting to clear out their team and a mini rebuild?
Listen, if they get rolled tonight, and I'm not betting this game. I wouldn't. I think it's on the board. The Bills do to the Dolphins what they did to the Jets, which is an easy 3-score victory. I also think that it's sneakies on the board that the game starts 14-0 Miami, and the Bills are just Dolphins get the ball, score on that injured defense, get a stop, score again, and then the Bills got to fight back the rest of the way.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, that's the only way we get an interesting game out of it. But if they get rolled, then I think the smart thing to do is to start evaluate which guys then they have to start over. Like this little mini era. There's a long article by Marcel, I apologize, ESPN Dolphins writer, first name Marcel. It's a French name, I think, about the Dolphins culture, essentially. And one of the things in it is like, yeah, it was all fine about guys missing meetings or being late when they were winning, but now they're losing. And I read it and I was like, man, they were never winning. They won a little.
Yeah.
But, you know what I mean? It's not like this is, you can look at the halcyon Mike McDaniel days when, they ran it was Barry Switzer's Cowboys. It was crazy, but you made the playoffs a couple times and never won a playoff game. Right. So, none of that's good. And if they start this year like that, I think you start to see guys available.
I don't think McDaniel should be fired. I don't care what look, I guess if it's a 50-point loss, but I don't think he should be fired. I know that's not the question, but The only player I'm thinking of is Tyreek. If they get blasted tonight, I would start shopping Tyreek because you might be able to get something good for him. And the sooner you get him to another, like if I'm another team, I want him right away so we have time to get him acclimated. I'm not necessarily sure where yet he should go, but obviously he's a great player.
Yeah.
He's not on the same page with
I would be interested in Achane. Being
Achane,
a Chiefs fan, I'd be interested in, if I were another team, maybe it's like, hey, they flipped Jalen for Minka, thinking, you know what I mean? Like, both guys need to change the scenery. If we're no good, Minka's a veteran player. Like, does he have value? Like, that's going to be something interesting about this year's season. I think there are some star players on some potentially really bad teams, like Alvin Kamara in what could be his last year with the Saints. Is he available at some point? You know what I mean? I think Achane could be gettable and useful for a team that's trying to go back to its 4th straight Super Bowl and needs an influx of running game.
Live from New York, it's a show that's congratulating Clayton Kershaw on a great career. Announced his retirement today, but he's going to play the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Shout out to Clayton Kershaw. We went through the best left-handed pitchers of all time. Had some fond memories of Lefty Grove.
That was a good one. I pulled that one.
Great.
That was a nice pull by you.
Yeah. But
self-explanatory.
The medal stand of modern baseball is Koufax, Kershaw, and as Danny pointed out, Randy Johnson.
Yeah, big unit.
As the top 3 lefties. From the list you just gave us?
Probably.
Yeah.
Noodles Hahn coming
That's not modern baseball, bro.
Noodles Hahn?
It's not modern baseball. It's
a great name. Tell that to all the Highlanders fans out there. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's why we call it overtime.
This guy.
I wait around all day for this.
I'm out here talking noodles. Today, is Jalen Hurts going to start throwing the ball a little bit more?
Further. How about the same frequency, just further?
I would like more, too. Meanwhile, are the Chiefs at risk of falling to 0-3 in Sunday's game against the Giants?
Happy Frenemies Thursday.
Oh, God.
Are you going to do that? Be careful. You know what?
Oh, boy.
When Nick and I were talking about it, we flipped 64 enemy friend. It was a little bit rough. But right now we're talking Cowboys Bears Sunday at 4 on Fox.
Oh, that line moved.
Again.
What's it down to now?
Now it's just half point Cowboys. Moving towards the Bears.
Wow.
After
0.5. Dallas defense allowed Russ to turn back the clock to the tune of 450 yards against a defense led by Caleb Williams' first coach, Matt Eberflus. Here's Caleb on facing his old head coach.
It's the same as preparing it each week for me. You got to go out there and execute the plays that Ben calls. And then other than that, I played a bunch of kind of ball versus that defense and kind of how he runs. So it's interesting in a way. Obviously, Matt was my coach obviously last year. So just being able to move past all of that and be able to go out there and help Chicago Bears be 1-0 this week.
Okay. Do you see a statement game from Caleb incoming?
Well, I have no idea if the Bears are going to win, and I don't feel great about it.
Okay.
but I do feel really confident that Caleb Williams is going to have a great game.
Okay.
I think Caleb Williams will have his best game of the season, which is a very low bar to clear, admittedly. But the Cowboys' defense is bad, and Caleb Williams, if you wanted to say anything about him, he's kind of been a bit of a bum slayer through his NFL career. Like he's picked on bad defenses. If we go back to last season, he only had 20 touchdowns. 10 of them were in the 5 games against the bottom 10 scoring teams that he played last year. That passer rating was higher than his season average. The points per game was higher than his season average. The touchdown to interception ratio was actually exactly in line with what he did for the whole year. But again, it was only 5 games, and he had half of his touchdowns against it. And the Cowboys' defense this year, we've all watched it, through 2 games, anyone's been able to get anything they want on this Cowboys defense. Like, Jalen Hurts completed 82% of his passes. Russell Wilson for 450 yards, 473 total, second highest passing total of Russ's career. The Bland injury, not much of a pass rush, a banged up secondary. They could lose, but I'll be shocked if Caleb has a bad game.
Well, I'm not sure if you know it, but what you just said plays right into my answer.
Oh.
A statement game is not possible.
For Caleb?
Yeah. He can go out there and throw for 350. So?
I would love to see
It'd be nice.
Wait a minute.
But but here's my point.
Please allow me to be happy on Monday if he throws for 350.
If he throws for 350, that's fine. But by statement game, it's like he's arrived. He is that guy. We're not going to say that after. He hasn't done enough for us to say after one game.
I agree.
Particularly against the Cowboys defense when we saw what Russell Wilson did. Jalen Hurts played well against him. So it would be nice to see him. The bigger statement would be if he doesn't play well at all. Like if he's garbage, then it'll be like, wow, against that defense. Secondly, as you said, why a statement game is impossible. Because he hasn't built up enough. Like, if he had been playing well before and then comes out with a great, we would be like, okay, he's arrived. There's nothing he can do that makes us say, that was it.
No, but he can take a huge step, don't you think?
I think he can. This is the thing. He had some great games last year. Not Detroit, obviously not a bum. He had 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Who was the team?
He had a great game against the Vikings.
He's Brian Flores. So that's the thing. He's had moments where it was, and those didn't become statement games.
I think also though, Brew, because you said that the season now is not about the Bears. It's just about Caleb. They win this game with Caleb playing well, and then week 4 is Vegas, and then week 5 is the bye. Do you not think if the Bears win the game, all of a sudden the season is still on life support? Like, season's not over if they win the game. Yeah, it would be on life support.
And I think he needs a statement month.
That's fair.
He doesn't need just a statement game.
Fair.
He needs a statement month.
So I agree with you that if they win this game, they feel like we beat the Raiders and we've stabilized, and everything we realistically hope for this year is still in front of us. You know what I mean? Maybe
the wild card is attainable.
Right, exactly. Maybe the Packers are 4-0, and so the division's not likely, but everything else is, we can make the playoffs, whatever it is. So I agree with that piece, but they have to win this game for that. As far as Caleb, this is where I would be. I felt like he was better in week 2 than he was in week 1. And I thought in week 1, he was better in that game than he was in the median game from last season. You know what I mean? Like, because it started so well, it obviously got away from him a bit, but I didn't think he was horrible. So if the goal is, and I know you've talked about it's going to be fits and starts and steps back, but if it was, this level, then this level, and then a really good game here, I think you would feel like, okay, you know what I mean? We're less than a month into Ben Johnson's tenure. He is showing progress. Like, for this game, one of the things I am looking for is, can he look excellent for a stretch that isn't on the opening script?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. Like, that's when he's been
That's when he's been great. Like, those things. Can we see the game where he has a couple wow plays without my old thing with Purdy, without the yikes plays to go along with them? I think those are all steps. And I do think it is a good point that maybe unfairly, there is more outcomes that result in major concern than like major relief, in that because of who they're playing, if it goes poorly for the Bears, I'm only talking about when the Bears have the ball. You know what I mean? The Bears defense is a separate thing that might be their undoing to begin with. And I'm also really interested in a storyline we haven't talked much about, but Caleb alluded to it, in this, he is going up against the defense of his former head coach, and his head coach is going up against the quarterback who he knows all the tendencies one can know from a player from coaching him for 12 weeks or however long he did, and who has the edge. Like, does Caleb's experience make him better prepared than he normally would be, or does Eberflus's knowledge about what Caleb's good and bad at?
I assume it's Eberflus.
Well, I'm certainly hoping that Ben Johnson can outcoach Matt Eberflus. I'm very much hoping for that.
Can I play this quote for you? Because I want to be positive about Caleb and Ben Johnson, because I feel like the pendulum has swung. And then I heard this quote from Ben Johnson, and I was like, ugh, this is a head in the hands quote. Okay. But I want to play it and get your reaction. Take a listen.
I think our practice habits are yet to reflect the championship caliber team.
No, it's not head in hands. I've been waiting for a Bears coach to hold the team accountable for a long time. Like, the underrated subplot of this game is that they're not saying it because they're 0-2 and they need to just focus on getting their first win. I can tell you without any shadow of a doubt there are guys in that locker room who do not like Matt Eberflus, who blame him for that season getting away. Jaquan Brisker was very open about that on social media repeatedly. Jalen Johnson called out after that Detroit game on Thanksgiving. He was a captain on last year's team. He's obviously not playing in this game, but he really butted heads with Matt Eberflus. They felt like he was not coaching them hard enough, holding them accountable enough, not taking accountability when he was forgetting to call timeouts in big spots. Like, there was a real oil and water situation there with Matt Eberflus and a lot of guys in that locker room. You talk about vibes. If the Bears lose at home to Matt Eberflus, that will be devastating inside that locker room.
And can I just real quick, because you said that almost like obviously Eberflus has the edge in the Caleb's knowledge versus Eberflus' knowledge. My rebuttal would be, I think holistically you're correct. But I think if this is one of the only games Caleb's played of his career where it's like, oh, it's not a blank slate going in. Like, I have an idea of what the other guy's going to do. I think one of the reasons maybe he had that successful game against the Vikings was because he had seen them before. You know what I mean? Like, so there, like, an element of when you're that, I think you're right that in general the coach would have an edge over the player in that. But I just think the jump in Caleb going up against coordinators he's never seen, schemes he's never seen versus one he has seen in theory and practice more than any other one might be significant for him.
Okay. 1-1 Steelers are going to head to Foxborough. Against the 1-1 Patriots, Aaron Rodgers has a simple recipe for getting the Steelers back on the right track. Take a listen.
I don't like getting too binary, but winning, that's a good response. But we can't get attached to the binary system that our league is judged on necessarily, because it is a 17-game season and the process has to be great. So just dig into the details in the process, enjoy it, practice well, and then let game day take care of itself.
Danny, what would a loss to the Patriots mean for Aaron Rodgers?
It would be really bad. Like, because you guys pointed out earlier, the schedule early was when they were supposed to cook. But I would also posit that there's been no team, because you see there, the Vikings now no J.J. McCarthy, Cleveland, they get Jake Browning, Cincinnati, we'll see. This is when they're supposed to, if they're going to have another winning season under Mike Tomlin, they're supposed to eat. But the first two games for Pittsburgh have just been weird. Like, the formula was supposed to be top 10, top 5 defense and above average offense and above average quarterback play. And in week 1, they get 4 touchdowns from Aaron Rodgers. But for the first time ever under Mike Tomlin, they've allowed 30-plus in back-to-back games to start a season. This is simply not sustainable. Like, Aaron Rodgers is pacing for 60 sacks. That would be the most of his career. The defense has 5 first-round picks healthy. They're the highest-paid defense in football, and they've played the Jets and the Seahawks. So, if the defense doesn't get right against New England, all due respect, not exactly a juggernaut offense, Aaron Rodgers at this stage of his career is not capable of carrying a team to a great season by winning shootouts.
Especially if he's limping. And listen,
he's taking too many hits.
He's getting beat up, man. And when he is getting, like in this last game, when he didn't get the ball out immediately, they were wholly unproductive. He turned the ball over. He got sacked. He had a passer again. Reminder stat: you get a 39.4 passer rating for spiking the ball, and he had a 28.5. And so, like that to me is likely what's going to happen here. And for me, Brew, what a loss would mean is the season's dead on arrival. Like, because week 1, I think it is fair to say the Steelers are not going to have a top 5 defense this year. I think 2 weeks in, I think if you allow 32 to the Jets,
top 5 is tough.
Yeah, and I think
they have a top 10? Possibly.
Yeah, I'm not going to write that off, but I don't think they're going to have using top 5 as placeholder for dominant. So let's say it gets better and they just have a good defense. For a team with just a good defense to then have a good season, you also need a good offense. I don't think they're going to have a good offense. And I think that they will need to significantly change how they're running their offense if they want Rodgers to play all 17 games.
Yeah, if they lose this game, it could really get ugly.
Yes.
If that and I mean not just, I think they're only going to lose so many games with Tomlin. So they might be 9-8 or 8-9.
Ooh.
But the hope would be gone. Obviously those players came into this season with a ton of hope because of Aaron Rodgers and a few other things. And if you start 1-2 when you haven't played a tough schedule yet, and you lose a game to the Patriots that you think you're better than, I just think, what's Rodgers going to say? If not this week, in 2 weeks. He's already, I feel like, taking a shot at Calvin Austin, the receiver. And so what little thing, that's when maybe he's, it gets ugly with some of his comments like it did with the Jets.
I also think Aaron might already be anxious about, is this team good? The Aaron Rodgers that I know from afar, I obviously don't know him at all, but from his press conferences, is not a guy that if he feels really good about a team's chances in a game, is going to, before the game, be like, whoever wins and loses is kind of an overrated fact.
It wasn't.
You know what I mean? And so that to me is more of a precursor to, if we lose, which I think we might, I want to be able to say, you know what I mean? Yeah. Oh, yeah, like I told you guys beforehand.
Just trying to have fun.
No, not even necessarily that, but that, we thought this was possible, but we saw good building blocks. It's a long season. He seems to be setting the table for that.
You know what I think is going to happen this game if Aaron Rodgers loses? He is going to look old compared to Drake May.
Well, yeah.
And it's a storyline that, Drake obviously, idolized Aaron Rodgers. But I remember seeing, shout out to Mac Jones, when I realized, Mac Jones, we might have some limitations. Mac Jones versus Josh Allen, and it was a similar situation, and the play broke down, and Mac Jones got sacked, and Josh Allen, ran for 20 yards. I was oh, seeing it right there. What's the story about the Chrysler? Everything looks like a Bentley or whatever.
The Chrysler Grandeur looks like a Bentley till a Bentley pulls up next to it.
When you see Drake, I was oh, this guy can do significantly more than you can. Yeah. And maybe four-time MVP Aaron Rodgers could beat the Patriots, but 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers can't. Also, good chance we just penalize ourselves out of the game. And
there we go.
Putting that out there. Rams in Philadelphia in a heated matchup. Remember this. Last year, Brew, in that playoff game, Matthew Stafford almost won.
Oh, yeah.
Sunday at 1 on Fox.
That.
Yeah. Jalen Hurts has not aired the ball out much at all. Take a listen.
How we function, how we flow, our synchronization. I think that I take accountability for a lot of it, and just how we go out there, because it's my job. My job is to go out there and be the general, orchestrate everything, and ultimately make plays.
Okay. Yeah. Lack of explosive offense on Jalen Hurts.
Well, it's either on him or the new OC. And you know what I mean? I'm not there. I don't know, obviously, what the reasoning is. But the stat you had earlier, KW, they've thrown 0 passes 10 to 20 yards down the field is impossible. They have attempted more tush pushes this year than 10-plus yard passes that Colin had is ridiculous. Yeah. And they have the horses. And so, I'm going to keep hammering this point. I think this is so different than last year. Last year's Eagles offense was explosive. It was explosive because of how great Saquon was, and they mixed in more passes than this year, but it was explosive. Last year's Eagles team was not the 2000 Ravens. You know what I mean? Where it's ball control, you know what I mean? The ground and pound. No, that was a high scoring, not high flying, but high scoring offense. This year's Eagles offense has not been, and it is very, very difficult for me to believe there have not been times where A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith are open down the field. He has not thrown the ball down the field to A.J. I think A.J. Brown has 8 targets and 7 are on slants.
Yeah, he's got 6 catches for 35 yards.
Yeah, and so that is very difficult for me to believe. And it's not that, he hasn't had time. He's had plenty of time.
Well, that's the thing. The statistical profile of this, I don't have a great comp for it.
There isn't one.
But I wanted to put it together because I don't know that I've ever seen a quarterback, and it's just 2 games, so maybe this will feel ridiculous in 2 weeks, but he has plenty of time to throw, 7th most in the NFL, but he's throwing the 2nd shortest in the NFL. You'd think the more time to throw for longer developing routes. And with all of that time to throw, he's scrambling more than anybody in the NFL. And as you mentioned, no attempts in the intermediate, which is where A.J. Brown has been one of the best players in football the last 5 years. It's a profile that makes so little sense. And even as a guy who is a Jalen Hurts skeptic as a passer, this feels to me like such an outlier that in 6 weeks we'll be like, okay, this has come back to normal.
Keep up.
This is just ridiculous. And he played Dallas.
Yeah.
I'm putting it on the OC because for now, it's too early in the season for me to put anything on Jalen Hurts. Like, he's just earned, not to the point of Mahomes, but he's earned the benefit of the doubt for me. So first game, he was really good with his legs, but still was really good. Last game, Chiefs are, a tough game and all that, but I just think this has to be more offensive coordinator than Jalen. He's not afraid to throw it down the field. He's not afraid to throw it in the intermediate. So it has to be on the offensive coordinator. It can't be on Jalen.
KW, I'm going to do to you what you did to me all through last year.
Uh-oh.
Concern level. Because you haven't been, you have not been quite, Brew, tell me if you agree with me, quite as peacocking about the Eagles once the season started as you were all off season. I don't know that I think you sent one Jalen Hurts tweet all year.
I retired it.
No, but you could send new tweets. I'm just curious. Like, you seem, I know you pretty well at this point. You seem a little unnerved. A little.
I like margin of victory.
Oh, okay.
I'm a margin of victory type of guy.
Okay.
I don't like squeaking by. And it doesn't feel like, these have felt like preseason games. And maybe that's because Jalen didn't play in the preseason. With a new OC, he should have gotten out there and worked a little bit. But I assume this will change because this is not going to work. I think Jalen knows it'll change. I assume it will work, but I'm not out here.
I'm going to go on the record, guys. If he doesn't have, and this is a low bar, at least 200 yards passing, they lose to the Rams. The Rams are going to put up points on that Eagles defense.
Remember, they beat him in the playoffs last year, but he had 125.
Yeah, I understand, but what did Saquon have, 200? That was the game. Saquon slapping himself in the helmet, running down the field in the snow.
So in the week 12, he played the Rams, and then divisional round played the Rams. Saquon had 460 yards.
Yeah, I mean, you're right.
It's a weird thing. If it's open,
good.
So we might have another game. I assume the Rams are going to try to stop that. Another game where it's like, this is a Saquon and running game.
The Rams, all of them are supposed to be Saquon and running games, right? The question is, if Saquon gets hurt or is taken away, can Jalen Hurts do it?
A little bit of lack of creativity. I remember we thought, after A.J. Brown had that one catch, we're like, well, they're going to do something unique.
No, they're not designing anything.
Nothing.
And the Rams, by the way, since Week 10 of last year, in games Stafford has played, he sat out Week 18, they're undefeated except for the 2 games against Philly. They're 0-2 against Philly, and I think 9-0 against everybody else since Week 10 of last year.
Coming up next, are the Chiefs on Upset Alert, a special edition of Frenemies? Tread lightly.
What makes it special?
It's a special edition.
It's very special. A normal edition.
No, it's a special edition.
What will be different is, unlike last week, I won't lose.
Is it scored?
Hey, welcome to Frenemies. This is my friend Nick. I'm Danny. This is where we bring the group chat to you on national television. And we should score this because I'm undefeated.
All right, that's fine. You're 1-0. 1-0. I don't know what happened in week 2. You're 1-0. That's fine. Gianna put it on the blog.
All right, perfect.
Yeah.
So Sunday night.
Do
we have a blog?
No, I don't think so.
Your Chiefs are winless. They're here in New York taking on the winless New York Giants. They are 6-point favorites. Yeah. But more so than just the record, it's been very weird watching Patrick Mahomes. He normally saves his running for the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah, of course. He's their leading rusher through 2 games by a long shot. Here's Andy Reid on how his quarterback is moving around out there.
I am okay with it. As long as he can come back upright, we're okay. I don't like him taking big hits, but he's a competitive kid.
He's pretty competitive. In a possibly related story, Patrick Mahomes is on the injury report after all of this running.
Yeah, the injury report thing's weird because he's a full participant in practice and it's his right wrist, and the last pass we saw him throw was his best pass of the season.
Yep.
So I don't totally get it, and I haven't asked about it. Maybe because I'm afraid to hear the answer.
Yeah, exactly.
That one I don't totally understand. But go ahead.
Do you consider your Chiefs vulnerable in this spot?
Well, I consider the Chiefs vulnerable for the season? Yes, I have to be honest. This is the worst I have felt about the Chiefs since going into week 8 of 2021. And that year, they were coming off getting blown out in the Super Bowl. Mahomes had never been beaten by more than 8 points in his career. Then they got blown out in the Super Bowl to Tampa.
Yep.
Then week 5 of that season, Buffalo blew them out. And then week 7 of that season, the Tennessee Titans beat them 27-3. They were 3-4. That's kind of the low water mark of the Mahomes era. Now they, of course, still ended up in the AFC Championship game because that's the floor for the ceiling. Or for the season, since Mahomes has been there. So holistically, yes. Sunday night, no. And are
you willing to go 0%?
Yeah, I'll go 0%.
You're going 0% again. Okay.
Yeah, because and I know you're trying to sell me this bill of goods on because they're only 6-point favorites. Well, it has to be a losable game.
Well, you've gambled long enough to know that objectively it is.
No,
but go ahead.
I've gambled long enough to know that is a way to measure the game, but not the only way to measure the game. So I want to ask you this question before you give your answer.
Okay.
Do you honestly believe it is more likely the Giants, as 6-point underdogs, beat Kansas City this weekend to put the Chiefs at 0-3 than it is the New Orleans Saints, as a 7.5-point underdog, beat Seattle? Because I don't.
No, I don't either.
Okay, exactly.
No, I don't either.
So it's not.
But 6 and 7.5 points, they're very close.
Yeah, but
in terms of one is statistically a little bit more likely to happen, and I will give the Chiefs the benefit of the doubt there. No question about it. My thing with the Chiefs, man, we are more aligned on the Chiefs than most things. This particular Chiefs thing, though, they can't run the ball. They can't rush the passer. They can't score. I look at them as vulnerable. They had a 16-play, 49-yard field goal drive in that game against the Chargers. They blitzed the Eagles more than any game since Spags has been their defensive coordinator, and they still only sacked Jalen Hurts 2 times. I am just not convinced. What are they good at right now?
Right,
what are they good at?
No, listen. Right now, honestly, they're good at employing Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
I agree. I agree with that. But I think
any team can lose if that's the only thing you're good at.
I think the fate of the fall of the Chiefs' offense is maybe a touch overstated. If we're gonna say that, listen, week 1. I thought they played a terrible first half that I think was derailed by Xavier's injury. And I've made this point a number of times, I want to make it again. I think it is so different missing a player for a game than a play into a game, losing a guy who you expected to have.
He's in the game plan.
And for that game, he was the centerpiece of the game plan. I thought the second half against the Chargers, the offense looked good. In the Eagles game, are we feeling like the Chiefs' offense is broken if they scored 24 against Philadelphia? Which is, I guess they wouldn't have had, I don't know if they would have scored the last touchdown, but you know what I mean? I'm adding the touchdown that came off the board with Kelsey, probably not. And I do think Xavier is going to play this Sunday. Personally, I would be fine if they saved him for Baltimore. I think they can beat the Giants without Xavier Worthy. And so, to me, it's 2 different conversations. Are the Chiefs Super Bowl caliber? Right now, they are not. I think they will get there. Are the Chiefs going to have their season essentially end at the hands of Brian Daboll and Russell Wilson and the Giants?
Listen,
I do not think so.
I'm not predicting them to lose either, but I also I've not been that impressed with the Chiefs defense. We just saw what Russ did last week, and I understand that's against Dallas, and I do not think the Chiefs defense is as bad as the Cowboys defense. But if the Giants score 24 points, I'm not positive this version of the Chiefs gets them. I'm not positive of it, man. You dubbed this the revenge tour.
Yeah, and
it's off to a rocky start.
Well, yes. Listen, the Rashid's suspension happening when it did, and Xavier getting hurt, and I'm not putting it all on that. They have to be able to run the ball better. I'm not denying that.
And rush the passer better.
Correct. And so Chris needs to play. The two guys on the Chiefs D-line who got paid, Chris Jones, who's a future first ballot Hall of Famer, and Karlaftis, who got paid this summer.
Sure.
Those guys need to play better. There's no question about that. But I think that we are potentially 10 days away from the Chiefs beating Baltimore in Kansas City, the Ravens sitting at 2-2, or if they lose to Detroit 1-3, the Chiefs being steadied, and the September champs of all time, the Baltimore Ravens, everyone being like, oh, we sure had that wrong.
Just one more time, 0% that they lose this game?
0% the Chiefs lose to the. I told the guys I'd shave my head if they did, but they said I'm not allowed to. They don't want to have to redo our photo shoot.
Oh, I would love to see you go back.
Yeah, go back to the shaved head look.
Would the wardrobe go back?
No, the wardrobe would not go back.
You dress a lot better now than you did back when you had the shaved head, no problem. Meanwhile, in Tampa Bay, Nick's Super Bowl pick, the Bucs host the Jets.
We don't talk about that enough.
Well, yeah, it's a good start for your squad. They're 7-point favorites, Tampa is, which makes sense considering it's the Jets. They are 2-0, electric game-winning drive against the Texans. Here's the Bake Show.
We're always in the fight. Anytime we step on the field, we expect to win. We expect to play well and do our job at a high level. So it's just the mentality.
Those uniforms, by the way, used to be mocked. When Baker wears them, they look pretty cool.
Well, the creamsicle uniforms are, I think, sick.
Yeah, they look really good. Do you now consider the Bucs sneaky Super Bowl contenders? I feel like everyone's caught up to you.
This was I got to tell you, this is an insulting question.
That's why we did.
I picked them to make the Super Bowl before they started the year with back-to-back stunning victories. Now, they just lost one of their guards potentially for the year. I don't love that. They also have a right tackle injury, and Wirfs hadn't come back. And so Baker,
3/5 of their offensive line out for this game, most likely.
And so that's a concern as far as their ability to cover the 7 for sure. Maybe even a concern for their ability to win. But and I think we might be aligned on this. Once people acknowledge that we are going on now close to 30 game sample from basically the midway point of Baker's first year with the Bucs to right now of Baker Mayfield being an elite quarterback, having a real argument that in that always open 5th spot that you have given, Justin Herbert by birthright, that Baker Mayfield deserves to be there. If you have that, Todd Bowles' game management all of a sudden looks sharp after the first time. The defense is going to be at least decent because of Bowles. And you have all these weapons, 2 good running backs, 3 good receivers when Godwin gets back. Why would they not be true Super Bowl contenders?
Right. Well, in Vegas now, they're 4th in the NFC.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy when you think it's Packers, Eagles, Lions right next to each other, a little bit of a gap, and then the Bucs, and they're tied with the Niners and the Rams. You said a little vulnerable in this game. The schedule after this week is a really tough stretch. It's a bad time for them to be banged up. They were a very healthy team last year. After this Jets game, it's Philly, Seattle, San Francisco, and the Lions for 4 straight. So I don't want to say they need the game. They're 2-0. It's not a must-win by any stretch, even by the first things first definition of must-win. But the schedule gets very difficult after this. Their offense, though, does have a ceiling if their tackles get healthy of being the best offense in the NFC.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And you know my philosophy. If you've got an elite offense, it doesn't really matter about the rest of it. You can win any game.
And so this is why I think that those first 2 weeks were so critical. Because I didn't think they played great. They were clutch, and Baker made big plays.
Correct.
But they're 2-0 with 2 last-second. If we can throw that schedule back up, Christina, please. Sorry, I should have told you. 2-0 with 2 last-second victories. Essentially last second, on the road against 2 teams that going into the year we thought playoff adjacent for Atlanta, have a real shot, and playoff favorites in Houston. And while you're right that weeks 4 through 12, there are some soft spots, but it's tough. There is no team in football with a right side of the schedule like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And so I think that they have a real shot to not only get the 1 seed, but because I think the NFC East and the NFC North are going to provide some real resistance, and the NFC West is going to, it looks like, provide resistance within the division, but they can also be red hot going into the postseason. Like that right side's almost too easy. Like, and when easy is the wrong word, but you're not going to play a playoff caliber team for 6 weeks, I don't think, going into the postseason. Yeah, I think the Bucs, and I also think Baker Mayfield MVP is very on the board.
Oh, get the bet in now.
Very on the board.
Get the bet in.
Who says I didn't, buddy?
Okay, I don't know the whole log. We'll bring Willie Colon and Coach Mangini out here. We'll call that a draw for frenemies.
No,
we got to see how
the game plays out.
That's a good
You didn't win the Charger-Chiefs one until the Chargers beat the Chiefs.
I forgot the rules. Good point. Welcome back to First Things First. Coach Mangini and Willie Colon are here. Yesterday, Brock Purdy returned to practice for the Niners after sitting out a week with a left shoulder injury, a turf toe injury. Brandon Ayuk also seen running around. He's not set to be back until week 5. Here's Purdy slinging it today. So we got practice video for both sides. Things looking up for the Niners. Shanahan says there's a chance Purdy plays against the Cardinals, even though backup Mac Jones, of course, had that win last week over the Saints. So as the Niners coach inch back to full strength, and maybe with Purdy coming back, how dangerous are a healthy 49ers team with Brock Purdy?
I don't know if I see him as being that much more dangerous with Brock Purdy, especially.
That is a huge indictment of paying him $250 million.
Here's what I'm saying is him coming back this week at this point. He's got the shoulder, he's got the foot. So you've got both those issues. And really, when you look at the health of the 49ers, that's always been an issue. Brock Purdy's never been part of that issue. So you might want to err on the side of caution. And if you look at what Mac did last week, if we take a look at the 2 games side by side, it's really pretty impressive in terms of what Mac Jones was able to accomplish. And you could easily make the argument that he played better than Brock Purdy. So if you're sitting there trying to make a decision from a coaching standpoint, and you do have your franchise quarterback who's may not be able to protect himself the way you want him to, I think you go with you go with Mac Jones another week and see where it goes.
I'm totally on board with Coach. And if I'm Shanahan, I'm dressing Brock Purdy, but he's going to be my number 2 against the Cardinals. That's how I feel. If we pull up the schedule solely because of where this is lined up, you got to understand they can get by the Cardinals because the Cardinals will not have, I think, 3 of their starting DBs. They're going to be injured. They can beat the Jags. The Rams is where you hope you get Brock Purdy back, you get Brandon Ayuk. And hopefully you get Kyle Juszczyk because he's dealing with a concussion. And then the next game is against the Bucs, where George Kittle is actually eligible to play because he's going to be coming off IR. If all those guys fall into fruition and you allow Purdy and those guys to heal up, the rest of the season, I mean, they can really cook and make some noise and that's when they become dangerous in my eyes. So it's all about Shanahan. Is he willing to hold his water and let these guys charge up so they can make a run?
So I have to hope that the Niners believe that Brock Purdy is much better than Mac Jones, or else there would be no reason to pay Brock Purdy.
Well, no, it goes back to what you said, though, DP. It goes back to you paid him all this money. He's dealing with a turf toe. He's dealing with a shoulder. You want to see this guy playoff time. If you rush him back, especially when momentum's on your side, you're really hurting the team.
I remember when, weird roundabout way to get here, but like when Jordan Love got hurt early last year, the argument was, well, you got to sit Jordan Love until he's 100% healthy.
Yeah.
But he came back and he played, and they won.
Right.
Like, you guys work all year to play in these 17 games. Like, you're telling me that if Brock Purdy is good to go, they're going to sit Brock Purdy for Mac Jones? My guess is football players play.
Look, they may not. And it is an interesting point that you make, because if Lamar Jackson was 80%, you would play Lamar.
You would play him.
If Josh Allen was 80%, you'd play Josh. If Patrick was 80%.
Of course, he's the starting quarterback who you gave $250 million to. You play those guys.
At Brock Purdy, and I'm like, well, I'd probably play Mac Jones.
That's crazy.
But it's a different dog, right? And we also got to understand what Brock Purdy does well is the RPO game, right? When you're dealing with RPOs and the way they play and the style in which they play at, a lot of his game is with his legs. And so if he can't run because of the toe, you're really hindering the offense that's already plagued with injuries.
All right, let's go to Philadelphia here. Massive game on Fox. Looking forward to this, the rematch of the divisional round. The undefeated Rams, undefeated Eagles, 1 o'clock on Fox. Jalen Hurts has gotten some flack lately from I don't know who, but I got 2 thumbs pointing right at me here, about not, what's he doing? It's not throwing the football as the quarterback. But Sean McVay, head coach of the Rams, obviously only had good things to say. Take a listen.
Jalen takes great care of the football. He can beat you with his arm, legs, or his mind. And he's a winner, and he's a great competitor. And so I got a ton of respect for this football team. We obviously have a lot of familiarity with them, playing them twice last year. And that being so early in this season, but every single year is a new year.
So if the question is about the quarterbacks, I will just say, if we are going to judge this by who won the game, then sure. Obviously, Jalen Hurts and the Eagles could win, and then he would be the better quarterback if it was just a quarterback wins thing. But in terms of production, Willie, I think it is fairly safe to say that Matt Stafford is going to have a better game. Right? Can we all? I mean, let's just put it up. They played twice last year. I don't feel like I need to do this. Matt Stafford is a better thrower of the football than Jalen Hurts.
You won't get off this hill. You're gonna die on this hill.
I have eyes, and I got LASIK surgery. Again, Hurts might win. Stafford is better. That is factual?
First of all, I feel targeted.
Yeah,
like
you should. You should,
I feel like
Willie.
this is directly
you should.
targeted towards me. But listen, to me, I see this being an empty calories game for Stafford. Meaning, yes, he could throw for 200 yards, 300 yards. But at the end of the day, it comes down to wins and losses. That's what it doesn't matter how far you throw the ball, how efficient you are. If you don't win the game, then that's a loss. And so when I look at this,
write that down. If you don't win the game,
it's a loss.
That's a loss. Gee, put that out on social. Let's make Willie Colon internet famous.
So my point to it all is we can keep knocking Jalen Hurts, but he has been proven to play a conservative style of football. They're going to use the offensive line, use the run game, and if they're open on the outside, he's going to take his shots. I really see this game about the offensive line because they remember against the Rams in the playoffs, they gave up 7 sacks. And that was a big knock on their armor. So I can see this team right now, especially the O-line, beefing up, getting ready to kind of take on this defensive line. That's very good, led by Xavier Worthy. But overall, man, I also see Stafford challenging the secondary of the Eagles, especially these young cornerbacks. I see Jalen Hurts and this team playing good and 4-minute football where they execute well. It all comes down to the quarterback who stands up in situational football, and I'm going to lean towards the Eagles and Jalen Hurts.
Coach?
Yeah, to me, production-wise, it shouldn't be close. Already, Stafford has 300 more pass yards. He's got 3 TDs. Hurts has 0 TDs. Throwing the ball. In terms of sacks, Philly's 31st in sacks, and the Rams are second in sacks. So for a pass rush, that favors the Rams. In terms of pass defense, the Rams are 4th, Philly's 8th. In terms of pass offense, the Rams are 8th and Philly's 31st. So everything points to a much more productive day for Stafford. That being said, I think Philly should do exactly what Philly does. They can win ugly.
Sure.
But if, I'm not a prop bettor, but if I was betting, the money would have to be on Stafford to hit the number.
Thankfully, I am a prop bettor, so I will just write that down and place the bets as soon as we hit the break. But I think from last year, the Rams lost that game, but it felt like if there were 4 more minutes in the game.
Not even. Or another minute.
Right?
Yeah.
If it was a 5-quarter game, which is not a thing. But you know what I mean? The Rams do not look at the Eagles as being an invincible team that they cannot beat.
Correct. But I also think from the Eagles standpoint, it's about evolving this offense. And I think the way they play, I talked about the 12 personnel. Now they're going to go into 11 personnel where you have the 1 running back, tight end, 3 receivers. And what they use is their motion so they can stretch space. This is why I think they're going to throw the ball more this Sunday. And it's going to be a lot closer. It's going to be a little interesting to see how they evolve. But listen, I think the birds fly this Sunday, man. Watch Jalen Hurts and company air it out a little bit.
If you're the Rams, you got to make Jalen Hurts beat you with his arm.
That's the game plan. Coming up tonight, it's expected to be a pretty lopsided affair. Feels like there could be a pretty big fallout, though, from the result of the game. Maybe a little prediction coming up. Kickoff for Bills and Dolphins is fast approaching, and Miami needs a win and some good vibes in the worst way. They are 12.5-point underdogs in Buffalo. Buffalo has owned this matchup just like they've owned everyone in the AFC East. Mike McDaniel reportedly on the hot seat. There have been rumors about Tyreek Hill and his unhappiness since the offseason. So, gentlemen, the question is, what would the fallout be from an 0-3 start for the Dolphins? And I will just say, as someone who just roots for the storyline and interesting, if you have great players on awful teams, I root for you to go to the good teams. So, I know the contract is expensive. Tonight should be Tyreek Hill's last game with the Miami Dolphins. Wow. There's just a lot of teams can use him. He still is good. There hasn't been a lot of production there. as a football fan who wants to see him play meaningful football, I hope he gets traded after the game.
Well, I mean, Miami's 0-2 against Buffalo on a short week, right? So that's one aspect of it. So I do see the Buffalo Bills winning. But overall, I think it's how they play this game. If Miami's competitive and they go out and fight and they seem like they have life, then I think you say, hey, let's keep pushing it to another week. But if they look god-awful and they look like they do not want to be out there, I think that's a reflection on the coach. And I think you have to make an honest, you have to ask yourself, honestly, is it time to let go of Mike McDaniel?
Yeah, nothing really good happens from firing coaches early in the season. We saw it last year.
A lot of football left.
The Jets tried to do it. Nothing great came from it. In terms of Tyreek Hill, I'm not cheering for him to go somewhere else. I'm cheering him to perform for the team he's on. Let's go out and see what he can do for the Miami Dolphins, who paid him a ton of money and who have given up a lot to have him there. So it's time to stop complaining and go show why you're such a great player. And look, Tua had a really good game against Buffalo in Buffalo last season.
Yeah.
Why can't he do it again tonight, and why can't Tyreek be a big part of that?
He certainly can be, and then they're probably not going to go anywhere for the season. But their offense came to life a little bit last week. Dolphins looked okay. Bills probably win in a rout. We'll talk about it tomorrow.